A lone figure staggers through the ruins of a dungeon, panting, barely clinging to life. His voice trembles as he mutters, "What are you?" But his frustration means nothing to the towering figure before him, the Monarch of Frost. The icy being scoffs. Yet again, the ones I seek are not here. The fragments of brilliant light continue to elude me. Just then, another presence emerges from the darkness. A demon-like figure steps forward, and Frosty greets him. "What brings you here, Yogimut?" The demon bows slightly, his sharp features twisted into amusement. "I've come to inform you about the land in the east." Frost Monarch narrows his eyes. "The small strip of land in the east. You mean South Korea, the domain of the Monarch of Shadows? I thought you were in charge of that region." Yogimut smirks. "Indeed, but it seems the rulers are planning to set Ligia free somewhere a little south of there. That is where I shall be going." Frost Monarch pauses, considering his words. "And what of the Monarch of Shadows? As long as the architect upholds our agreement, there should be no problem." But then, Yogimut leans in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Oh, and one more thing. We've confirmed it. The greatest fragment of brilliant light, he's there." Frost Monarch's lips curl into a chilling grin. "Ha, how interesting indeed. But he isn't fooled. You came all this way just to tell me that? I find it hard to believe you're feeling generous. But fine. If you're giving me this opportunity, I'll take it gladly." His eyes suddenly flicker with realization. But more importantly, it seems we were lured here. A figure approaches, cloaked in power. The presence radiating from him is unmistakable. Frost Monarch scoffs, "Huh? And what do you want?" The figure steps closer. "That small strip of land in the east. You're talking about South Korea, aren't you?" Yogimut, impatient, waves him off. "We don't have time to play games with this weakling. Monarch of Frost, let's go." But the figure suddenly moves, lightning fast, intercepting them in an instant. "Not so fast. I'm not letting you leave." He strikes, but his attack is blocked with ease. He glares at the two monarchs. But in their eyes, he is nothing but a mild inconvenience. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo stands in the depths of a new battlefield. Across from him, a massive orc leader sneers. "So, you're the little bastard who's been slaughtering my kin." The creature sizes him up, unimpressed. "I gotta say, I'm shocked you made it this far. A scrawny runt like you, speaking our language? That's rich. But this is as far as you go." The orc lets out a deep, guttural laugh. "My brothers are hiding in the area. Come on out, boys." But there was no response, only silence. The orc looks around, confused. "What the? Where are they?" Jin-Woo smirks. "Oh, them? Yeah, they already met my boys." He casually raises a hand. "Come forth." A dark wave explodes across the battlefield as his army of shadows materializes. The remaining orcs don't even get a chance to react. His soldiers shred them apart instantly. Jin-Woo surveys the bloodbath, unimpressed. "Well, that was quick." The orc leader stumbles back, his bravado gone. "What happened?" Jin-Woo gives a simple command. "Begin." The massacre resumes. The orc leader, realizing he's completely outmatched, charges at Jin-Woo in a last-ditch effort. But before he can even swing, Beru appears behind him. Slash! In one clean motion, his arm is gone. Before the orc can even scream, Igris steps in, pinning him to the ground. And then comes Tusk, looming over him, his massive staff raised. He uses him of giants in gravity acceleration. The orc leader is immobilized, completely helpless. Jin-Woo kneels beside him. "Now, answer my questions. Cooperate, and I'll make this easy for you." The orc trembles but refuses to speak. The system once again prevents him from revealing anything useful. Jin-Woo sighs. "Figures. Looks like I'll have to find out the truth another way." With the orc dealt with, Jin-Woo turns to his inventory. His eyes land on an item he had nearly forgotten about. Key to the Kartinon Temple. The cursed random loot box gave me this. I met all of its requirements after reaching level 100 during the Jeju Island raid. Jin-Woo's expression hardens. He remembers that place. The double dungeon. His fists clench as he recalls the statue, the system, the near-death experience that changed his life forever. Suddenly, a notification appears. "Status, the system is calling you back." Jin-Woo's lips curl into a smirk. "So, you're waiting for me, huh?" He welcomes the challenge. If this whole thing was planned from the very beginning, if someone is waiting for me to return, he cracks his knuckles. "Then just you wait. I'm coming for you soon." In the darkness of his mind, a familiar, sinister grin appears. the statue from the double dungeon. And so it begins. Jin-Ho furiously typed away at his computer, eyes burning with righteous fury. Freaking trolls. You dare slander Jin-Woo. I won't forgive a single one of you. His fingers flew across the keyboard as he prepped legal documents like an internet warrior on a mission. I'm suing every last one of you. Beg all you want, it's over for you. Satisfied, he leaned back and stretched. Phew, another one bites the dust. That's another batch of haters shut down. Jin-Woo, fresh from another gate, casually walked in. Appreciate the hard work. Jin-Ho, still in legal warrior mode, responded on autopilot. Yes, sir. Then he did a double take. Wait, why do you look like you just crawled out of a war zone? Jin-Woo deadpan. Just came back from a gate. Everything good. More than good. You said we needed extra funds to kickstart our guild, right? Jin-Ho perked up as Jin-Woo dropped a heavy bag on the desk. He peeked inside and his jaw hit the floor. Premium essence stones? Did you solo a high-ranking gate again? Sir, you never cease to impress me. Jin-Woo was about to brush it off when something caught his attention. Wait, employee. Jin-Ho nodded like he had been waiting for this. Yes. Don't you remember? We need at least 3 founding members. Jin-Woo blinked. Oh right. A guild master, a vice guild master, and a third wheel. Jin-Ho nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. And since we need someone who's in it for the long run, we should pick a diligent person. Can't just be any random fill-in. Jin-Woo shrugged. Makes sense. Anything else we need to go over? Jin-Ho's expression turned deadly serious. Yes, sir. We must discuss something of the highest importance. Jin-Woo braced himself. What is it? Jin-Ho inhaled dramatically. The guild name. Jin-Woo stared at him like he just suggested world domination. That's it. Jin-Ho looked personally offended. That's it? Sir, this is the most important thing. And just like that, Jin-Ho dived into full brand consultant mode. Rapid-fire brainstorming ensued. What about Sungyu Guild? Our last names combined. Sounds cool, right? Jin-Woo. Meh. Okay, how about Yusung Guild? Flows better, but I can't have my name before yours. How about the last 2 syllables of our first names? Wooho Guild. Or wait, the middle syllables. Jin Guild? Jin-Woo stared at him, unimpressed. Solo Player Guild. Jin-Ho short-circuited. Huh. Since I basically hunt solo, it fits. Jin-Ho's world crumbled. Was that a joke? Sir, are you actually bad at something? Is this your weakness? Before Jin-Woo could roast him back, a knock at the door. Jin-Ho got up. Who is it? He opened the door and froze. Is this Sung Jinwoo's office? A familiar voice asked. Jin-Ho blinked. MMS, Cha Hae-In? Jin-Woo looked up, surprised. Ms. Cha, what brings you here? She visibly hesitated, shifting on her feet. I want to join your guild. Jin-Woo blinked. What? Cha Hae-In squared her shoulders. You heard me. I want to join your guild. Jin-Woo narrowed his eyes. Okay, hold up. Did Mr. Go send you? Did Mr. Choi kick you out? Cha Hae-In, confused. What? No, what are you even saying? Jin-Woo, still suspicious. Then why? Why the sudden interest in joining the solo player guild? Cha Hae-In's eyes widened in horror. Wait, that's your guild name. Jin-Woo, unimpressed. Yeah, you got a problem with that? The vice guild master and I agreed on it. Jin-Ho exploded. Excuse me. Sir, we agreed on nothing. You just... Jin-Woo, completely ignoring him. So Ms. Cha, why join my guild? He studied her closely. Her racing heartbeat, her uneven breathing, the way she avoided his gaze. Something's off. Why is she this nervous? What's she hiding? And then it clicked. Wait, her contract. Ms. Cha, it hasn't even been 2 years since you awakened. Doesn't that mean you're still bound to the Hunters Guild? Cha Hae-In nodded. I'll pay the penalty for breaching my contract. Jin-Woo's eyebrows shot up. You'd pay the penalty? Ms. Cha, we can't afford to pay you an advance worthy of an S rank. She shook her head. I don't need an advance. Something wasn't adding up. Jin-Woo pushed further. Why go through all this? What do you gain? Cha Hae-In froze. How do I even explain this? She remembered everything. From the first moment she noticed Jin-Woo smelled different, to the overwhelming power he displayed, to the way he saved her in Jeju. He wasn't just another hunter. Her heart pounded, face burning. I can't tell him. I can't just say I want to be by your side until my last breath. And no way. Jin-Woo, still oblivious, waited. Well, Cha Hae-In panicked. I just want to live a comfortable life. Is that so wrong? Jin-Ho sighed dramatically. Oh man, the Hunters Guild must have overworked her. She's only, 22? 23. No wonder she wants out. Jin-Woo nodding. That makes sense. Then his face turned smug. But, Hae-In narrowed her eyes. But what? Jin-Woo smirking. We have an entrance test. Hae-In blinked. What? The recruitment posting didn't say anything about. Jin-Woo cut her off. New rule. Vice Guild Master must have forgotten to add it. Hae-In sighed. Fine. What's the test? Jin-Woo's smirk grew wider. You have to defeat one of my summoned beasts. Hae-In straightened up. That's it? You think I can't handle one of your summons? Jin-Woo chuckled. I'll pick the strongest one. Just for you. Hae-In smirked. Fine by me. Hae-In stands up, eyes locked on Jin-Woo. When's the test? Jin-Woo, as chill as ever, shrugs. Let's do it now. How about the Hunter Association gym? Then he remembers something. The place is kind of far. Might as well test if Shadow Exchange works with two people. He turns to Cha, who's already heading toward the door. You don't have to leave. Cha stops. Huh. He smirks. We can take a shortcut. Just gotta stick together for a sec, okay. Before she can even react, darkness swallows them whole. And poof, they're gone. Jin-Ho bursts into the office, snacks in hand. Alright, I got drinks and snacks. These two need to sit down and eat. He swings the door open and finds a shadow soldier reaching for the bag like it's his last meal. Jin-Ho blinks. What the hell? Cha and Jin-Woo land inside the gym instantly. Cha wobbles, trying to process how the hell they just teleported across the city. What? How did we? Meanwhile, Jin-Woo's already deep in thought. Shadow Exchange works just like a personal gate. Entrance appears under me. Exit is wherever my shadow is. And I can take people with me. Yeah, this just became a fast travel cheat code. Cha, still recovering from the whiplash, suddenly gasps. Wait, I left my weapon behind. Jin-Woo smirks. Ah, you mean that pickaxe? Cha instantly turns red. No, of course not. He chuckles. Relax, just messing with you. Trying to act like she didn't just get flustered, Cha turns to the storage. The gym has reserve weapons. They're not great, but they'll do for practice. She grabs a sword, giving it a few test swings. Alright, I'm ready. Jin-Woo eyes it. You sure about that? It's not your usual one. Cha shrugs. Doesn't matter. Monsters don't exactly give us time to pick our favorite weapons anyway. Jin-Woo nods. Fair point. He thinks for a second. If he summons a weak shadow, she'll obliterate it. But if he goes straight for Beru, she might straight up never recover emotionally. So, he calls forth Igris. The Black Knight materializes, sword in hand, crimson eyes glowing like he's ready to throw hands. Among my soldiers, he's the best swordsman. Cha grips her weapon. What are the conditions to win? Jin-Woo shrugs. Destroy the summon or surrender. That's it. Cha instantly gets into stance. But right before the fight starts, Jin-Woo pauses. Wait a sec. Didn't she just say weapons don't matter? He reaches into his inventory and pulls out the Demon King's longsword. The second he tosses it to Igris, the entire gym gets an ominous glow. Cha's eye twitches. You're giving him that? Jin-Woo smirks. Yeah, thought I'd make it fair. Alright, let's begin. Start. Igris moves first. The second Jin-Woo gives the signal, the knight lunges forward, blade crackling with dark energy. Cha barely dodges, her hair whipping from the force of the swing. Jin-Woo watches with his arms crossed. As expected, she's fast. If that had been an average hunter, they'd be in two pieces already. Meanwhile, Go-Gun-Hee sits at his desk, feeling the action from the fight. He calls a staff member, pull up the CCTV. The screen lights up. Gun-Hee leans forward. Jin-Woo versus Hae-In. Well damn. He rubs his temples. I really was blind, huh? Then, without hesitation, he picks up the phone. Shut off all the cameras in the gym. The staff stammers. Sir? But, Gun-Hee shuts that down immediately. Just do it. And write in the logs that there was an inspection today. He sits back, smirking. Ah, to be young. Back at the gym, Cha lands a counterattack and smashes Igris into the wall. She dusts herself off and turns to Jin-Woo. Was that really your strongest summon? Cha crosses her arms. You said you'd summon your strongest, didn't you? Jin-Woo lets out a deep sigh. Hae-In, unshaken, steps forward. Please summon him now. Jin-Woo sees it. That determination. He sighs. Alright then. Dark energy surges through the gym. The air grows heavy. A shadow looms over them. And then, Beru appears. The shadow general materializes, his presence sending a chill down the spine. His red eyes glow, his menacing aura spreads, and the air around him distorts from sheer power. Jin-Woo's voice remains calm. But his words, "I'll ask again. Are you sure about this?" And just like that, the real test begins. Jin-Woo sizes up Beru, thinking about just how dangerous he really is. Shadow soldiers are weaker than when they were alive. But even then, Beru was literally built to kill hunters. This dude wasn't born, he was manufactured for murder. If he goes all out against Hae-In, her chances of winning are, yeah, not looking great. Beru appears, kneeling before Jin-Woo, ever the obedient shadow. "My king, what shall I do about this person?" Jin-Woo doesn't even hesitate. "Defeat her, but don't let her get hurt." Beru bows deep. "Yes, my king." Then, like a total drama queen, he lets out a monstrous roar, and the gym lights literally flicker and explode. Hae-In, standing in front of him, keeps her serious expression, but inside? Yeah, she's realizing she might have made a mistake. Sung Jin-Woo actually fought against this thing, and won. Jin-Woo casually, like he's talking about the weather. "Put those claws away. You so much as scratch her, and we're gonna have a problem." Beru, all respectful, obeys immediately. "Yes, my king." Hae-In sees her moment. An opening, now's my chance. She moves like lightning, taking advantage of Beru being unarmed. But Beru? He's not even sweating. He sidesteps her attack like he's dodging a kid swinging a stick. Hae-In barely has time to register what happened before he's behind her again. "Oh hell no. Not this again. You think I'm gonna fall for the same trick twice?" She pivots, swinging her sword in a flash, only for Beru to straight up catch it between his fingers like it's made of plastic. Beru's got a plan. "My king said not to harm her." "Cool, I'll just embarrass her instead. I'll make it crystal clear that she doesn't stand a chance." Simple. Hae-In, now officially frustrated, keeps swinging, but Beru doesn't even move his feet. He just dodges everything with the bare minimum effort. She grits her teeth. "Nah, this ain't it. No way. He's dodging all my attacks without even trying." Then Beru goes full menace mode. He lets out another roar, this one even stronger, sending her flying back. She barely lands on her feet, but she's not done yet. She gathers her remaining mana, eyes locked onto him. Jin-Woo, watching the whole thing like a teacher watching a student struggle with an easy problem, sighs. "Yeah, this fight's over. You satisfied now?" he asks her. Hae-In, ever the stubborn one, shakes her head. "Not yet." Jin-Woo blinks. "Wait, seriously?" She still wants to go. He starts second-guessing. Is she just reckless? Or does she actually think she can win? Beru isn't like my other shadows. He's smart, sure, but at the end of the day, he was made for killing. Even now, I can tell he's holding back his instincts. I just hope she doesn't push him too far. Beru, meanwhile, is starting to take this personally. How dare you? His instincts scream at him. Prey doesn't challenge the predator. Prey submits. This woman doesn't know her place. He unleashes a powerful attack, slamming the ground where Hae-In was standing, but she dodges at the last second. She activates Sword Dance, moving faster than before, her blade flashing like a storm. But Beru? He's still toying with her. He blocks every single hit like it's nothing. Then, with one casual flick of his hand, he snaps her sword in half. Even then, Hae-In refuses to back down. She gathers every bit of mana she has left. "I've only got one shot at this. I don't have enough mana for multiple attacks, so this has to be it." Skill. Sword of Light. A blinding flash of light fills the gym. Jin-Woo, suddenly on high alert, shouts, and oh! For a moment, Beru is stunned. But then, something awakens inside him. A command, buried deep in his instincts. A command he hadn't thought of since the day he was born as the Ant King. Annihilate the enemy. His queen had given him this order at birth. It was simple. It was absolute. Hae-In is his enemy. Beru moves to strike. Jin-Woo yells again, "Stop!" But Beru isn't listening. His instincts have completely taken over. In the blink of an eye, Jin-Woo steps in, his hand catching Beru's attack just inches away from Hae-In. The gym falls silent. Hae-In, exhausted and barely standing, wobbles before collapsing onto her knees. Jin-Woo turns to Beru, his voice ice cold. "I told you to stop." Beru immediately kneels, trembling. "My king, please have mercy." Jin-Woo ignores him for now, turning to Hae-In instead. Are you okay? She nods weakly. Jin-Woo exhales. Why are you pushing yourself so hard? This was just a dumb entrance test for a nameless guild. You shouldn't be risking your life over something like this. It's not worth it. Hae-In stays silent. Jin-Woo stares at her. Are you not going to say anything again? Nothing. Jin-Woo, getting frustrated, starts throwing out possibilities. Are you perhaps interested in me? Hae-In's head jerks up. What? Jin-Woo frowns. No. Then what the hell is this? I seriously can't tell what you're thinking. Hae-In, cheeks turning a deep shade of red, stares at the ground. Finally, after what feels like forever, she mumbles. Yes, I think so. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how our boy just won a girl's heart without even trying. At the American Federal Bureau of Hunters, Connor bows his head. We deeply apologize, sir. Brennan, not having any of it, waves him off. I didn't call you here for an apology. Just tell me what the hell happened. Connor hesitates before finally spilling the tea. Based on Ms. Sellner's observations, Hunter Sung Jin-Woo is one of the kings. Brennan nearly chokes on his own breath. What? Are you seriously telling me that Sung Jin-Woo is on the same level as a national-level hunter? Sellner, still visibly shaken, takes a deep breath. Let me explain. Every awakened hunter draws their power from a place called the other side. I can sense this connection. The stronger the link, the brighter the hunter appears to me. The ones who shine the most, I call them kings. Brennan nods. And Sung Jin-Woo? Sellner's expression darkens. That's just it. He had no connection. No light. No link to the other side. The moment I looked into his eyes, the darkness inside him stared back at me. He was the darkness itself. Brennan leans in. Darkness? Are you telling me Sung Jin-Woo is evil? Sellner shakes her head. I'm not saying that. I'm saying his power doesn't come from the other side. Unlike other hunters, he doesn't borrow his strength. It's all his own. Which means, she hesitates, her voice barely above a whisper, there is no limit to his powers. Brennan exhales sharply. Damn, he dismisses Sellner. Thank you for your time, Miss Sellner. As she leaves, Connor follows Brennan into the elevator. Where are we going, sir? Brennan punches a code into the panel. Basement level 24. If we can't win him over with Sellner's abilities, we'll have to find another way. The elevator hums as they descend. Brennan turns to Connor. Do you remember the first ever S-rank gate? Connor's face tenses. Of course I do. That was the worst dungeon break in history. It wiped out the West Coast, total carnage. We had to recruit the strongest hunters in the world just to stop it, and even then, only 5 survived. Those 5 became known as the national-level hunters. Brennan nods. And do you remember what caused that catastrophe? Connor gulps. Kamish. The elevator doors slide open, revealing a dimly lit high-security chamber. Brennan steps inside, walking toward a heavily protected vault. He enters another code, and a thick steel door hisses open. Inside, a single object sits on a pedestal, a runestone. Brennan gestures toward it. This was found in Kamish's corpse. Connor's breath catches. Are you serious? Brennan smirks. Dead serious. For 8 years, this runestone has been waiting for its rightful owner. There has yet to be a mage-class national-level hunter. But now, Kamish is about to bless America once again. Back in Korea, Jin-Woo stares at himself in the mirror. I know I got taller and more ripped since my reawakening, but am I really that good-looking? I swear I was just average before. Maybe it's the buffs from the will to survive. It restores any damage to my body, so I guess my skin just auto-glowed up. Curious, he turns to Gina. Hey sis, how would you rate me? Gina barely glances up from her phone. Huh, rate you? In terms of what? Jin-Woo grins. Attractiveness. Gina snorts. Where the heck is all this confidence coming from? You just look like a bum to me. Jin-Woo's jaw drops. Huh. What? Gina shrugs. It is what it is. Jin-Woo playfully shoves her. She kicks him back. Keep that up and you're gonna break your own leg, Jin-Woo warns. Did you forget who your brother is? How does a bird brain like you even get into school? Gina rolls her eyes. Excuse me? I'm literally top of my class. Jin-Woo laughs. By the way, I'm forming my own guild. Gina smirks. Oh, so now you're the big boss, huh? She quickly types a message to her friend. LOLOMG, guess what my brother just said? Jin-Woo. What? He actually thinks he's attractive skull. Nah, he's finally lost it. Jin-Woo keeps going. Yeah, if all goes well. What do you think of solo play guild? Jin-Ah gives him the dirtiest look. You're joking, right? Jin-Woo frowns. Why? Is it weird? Jin-Ah crosses her arms. Bro, you literally summon an entire army. How are you a solo player? Jin-Woo blinks. That's a good point. Jin-Ah sighs. You need me to fix everything, huh? Just name it a Jin guild. Jin-Woo repeats the name, testing it out. A Jin? Yeah, not bad. A Jin guild. Ah means I, and Jin means to go forward. He grins. Wait, did you just name it after yourself? Jin-Ah grins back. Maybe. Meanwhile, at Hae-In's place. Hae-In sits on her bed, clutching a pillow. Oh my god. I basically told him I like him. She remembers Jin-Woo's words. Then I don't think joining my guild was the best option. Isn't there a better way? Cha rolls onto her back, dying inside. Ugh, he probably thinks I'm crazy. But I mean, he did save my life, so it makes sense, right? Right. She groans, covering her face. Nope, nope, nope. Everything is not okay. She breathes deeply, trying to calm down. Strictly speaking, I survived because of Min Byung-goo's healing. But even so, Sung Jin-Woo saved me. Suddenly, a voice echoes in her mind. Please tell him. Tell Hunter Sung Jin-Woo to be careful. Be careful of the powers that lie within him. Cha bolts upright. Wait, that voice. I remember now. Her eyes widen in realization. I saw Hunter Min Byung-goo. Her hands tremble. What did he mean by that? Something wasn't right. Something big was coming. And Sung Jin-Woo was right in the middle of it. At the Knights Guild headquarters, Park Jong-soo listens to his subordinates brief him on a newly spawned gate. Boss, we got a situation. A new gate popped up yesterday, but it's going to be a hassle to get an entry permit. The Hunters Association says it's high rank. Jong-soo barely lifts an eyebrow. S rank or something? No, but it's a top-tier A rank. That gets his attention. Ugh, great. So, a death wish if we're not careful. One of his guys suggests backing out, but another reminds him of their reputation. If it was an S rank no-brainer, we'd dip. But we're one of the 5 major guilds in the country. If we start passing on high-rank gates, people are gonna talk. Jong-soo scowls. Yeah, cause the public thinks A, B, C, D, and E ranks are all the same damn thing. The subordinates remarks. You know the famed guild would snatch this gate up in a heartbeat if we step back, right? Park Jong-soo loses it. There is no way I am spoon-feeding Ma Dongwook a gate that spawned in our front yard. His subordinates nervously backtracks. No, boss, I wasn't saying we should back out, just letting you know the stakes. Jong-soo sighs, rubbing his temple. The real problem is we've got solid A ranks, but no S rank hunters. That's the gap between us and the top dogs. Then Young Yerim, their A rank healer, drops a bomb. How about we recruit an individual instead of another guild? Park scoffs. This is a top-tier A rank gate. How would one person make any difference? Mid-sentence, it hits him. Yerim grins. You get it now. Oh, I get it. You mean him. Sung Jin-Woo, she confirms. The squad nods, knowing damn well their odds would skyrocket with Jin-Woo in the mix. Plus, teaming up with an S-rank solo hunter wouldn't tarnish their reputation like begging another guild for help would. One of them asks, so what's he been up to lately? Cleared a gate in the middle of a highway a while back. But besides that, dude's been keeping it low-key. Jong-soo smirks. Well then, guess it's time we pay him a visit. Meanwhile, at Jin-Woo's office, he casually drops a name suggestion. What do you think about a Jin guild? Jin-Ho lights up. That sounds wonderful, sir. Let's make that official. Internally, though, he's just relieved solo player guild is dead and buried. Jin-Woo nods. Alright, now that the name's set, we just need one last founding member. Jin-Ho, curious, asks, what happened with Ms. Cha yesterday? Jin-Woo shrugs. She's not the right fit for our guild. She's not who I'm looking for. Jin-Ho is flabbergasted. Wait, you're passing on Hae-In? An S-rank, young, top-tier hunter? She's even got killer looks. Who could possibly be a better candidate? Jin-Woo stays firm. Someone with a hunter's license, no interest in joining a guild, but still trustworthy. Jin-Ho hesitates. A couple of people might fit that description, but... Knock, knock, knock. Jin-Woo turns to the door. Who is it? Ms. Cha again. Nope. It's Park Jong-soo, flanked by his Knights Guild members, radiating forced politeness. After some quick greetings, Park gets straight to business, laying out the situation with the Busan Gate. The association won't let us in alone, so we need backup. We'll compensate you well. How does 20% sound? Jin-Woo listens, then hits them with a counteroffer, so clean it leaves Park momentarily speechless. Let's make that 50-50. Park stares at him. Excuse me? Jin-Woo folds his arms. If I'm gonna help, I'm not doing it as a one-man backup. You'll treat me like a full-fledged guild, not just some solo hunter. The sheer audacity. But Park realizes he doesn't really have a choice. They need Jin-Woo more than Jin-Woo needs them. With some hesitation, he agrees. Fine, but in return, we want you to take down the dungeon boss. Jin-Woo smirks. Done. Park, wanting to leave immediately, pushes for departure that night, but Jin-Woo shuts it down. I got plans. I'll meet you in Busan tomorrow. As the Knights Guild leaves, one of Park's subordinates, Yuntae, mutters, Huh? I swear his shadow just moved. Jin-Woo's phone buzzes. It's his mom. Her warm voice immediately softens his expression. Did I call it a bad time? She asks. Not at all, he reassures her. A genuine smile tugs at his lips. How about dinner tonight? She happily agrees. The next morning, Busan's skyline is dominated by the massive gate hovering over Gwangali Beach. Hunters from the Knights Guild are already on site, preparing for the raid. Jong-soo impatiently checks his watch. 11 a.m. Arg, should have forced him to come with us yesterday, he grumbles. Hope he's not going to be late. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo is still at home, casually thinking. The weather looks bad. Hope Jaina took an umbrella. Then, shadow exchange. At a high school, a group of students is helping their art teacher move supplies. Naturally, they're complaining. We're basically being used as free labor. I know, right? This isn't even art class. How many plaster busts do we have to carry? Ugh, 6 groups, 6 busts. 2 trips. One kid, frustrated, jokes. Then why don't you carry 4 at once? Another, wiping dust off an old shelf, mutters. Damn, this place hasn't been cleaned in forever. Then, one of them notices something. Isn't this a gate? One of them, trying to stay calm, rationalizes. Chill. It's closed, so we're safe. Hunters are the only ones who can pass through, and nothing can get out either. Plus, it takes about a week for these to open. Another kid frowns. Wait, this room has been abandoned for months, right? If we just found this now, that means... Before they could finish, crack. A monster's claw rips through the gate. One student doesn't even have time to react before the creature snatches him. His friends scream his name. Then a sickening crunch. And just like that, Bro's facial expressions are forever ruined. The scene opens in straight horror movie mode. Bodies of students lying lifeless on the floor, blood everywhere. Total carnage. The narration kicks in. Some beings are natural-born predators. They might not be geniuses, but when it comes to tracking and hunting, they put humans to shame. Then, stepping out from the gate, 2 orc scouts emerge, eyes glowing crimson like they just leveled up in villain mode. They're hyped from the smell of flesh and blood, but they're on recon duty, so instead of going full beast mode, they've kept their instincts locked down for a week, just hiding in the shadows, quiet and ready. One of them kneels down, dips his fingers in blood like it's a vibe check, and says, "This place is crawling with prey. There's a level above us, and another one on top of that. This whole structure's like a damn castle." He tells his homie, "You go summon the boys. I'll start clearing this floor." Then he dips to begin his hunt, all casual like it's just another Tuesday. Cut to a couple students chatting in the hallway. One hands the other something. "I got this for you." "Thanks." Then boom, orc jump scares into frame, swinging that axe like it's Fortnite Season 1. Meanwhile, back at Gwangali Beach, Jin-Woo pulls up to the gate. Damn, it's even bigger in person. He scopes the setup. Hauling teams over there, mining squads that side, and the strike squad? Damn, they got 13 A ranks and 20 B ranks. That's stacked. But I guess it checks out for the guild with the most A ranks in the country. As soon as he shows up, he gets swarmed like a K-pop idol. "Mr. Sung, you were insane during the Jeju Island raid. How do you even summon those shadow things? Are they beasts? Are you leading today's raid?" Before the crowd can go full fan mode, Jung Yerim elbows her way through. "Guys, chill. Let the man breathe." She walks up to Jin-Woo and goes, "Hi, I'm Jung Yerim, main healer of the Knights Guild Elite Squad. Since you're the leader and I'm the healer, let's be besties, yeah?" Park Jong-soo steps in, realizing he forgot something. "Ah damn, I didn't tell her." He clears his throat. "Ahem, I, Park Jong-soo, will be leading this raid." The disappointment hits like a truck. "Wait, you again? Come on, man. But we have Mr. Sung. Jong-soo goes, yeah well, Mr. Sung's in charge of the back line. He'll keep us safe. Cue some of the hunters getting salty. You think we're weak or something? We don't need babysitting. Right, boys? Jong-soo just chuckles. What they said might have sounded disrespectful, but that's just how raids go around here. Jin-Woo shrugs it off. Nah, it just means they're confident. Jong-soo checks the time. Alright, let's roll out. Raid starts now. Cut back to the school. A girl hides in a bathroom, her hands shaking as she calls the Hunter Association. Hello, this is the Hunter Association emergency line. Is this really the Hunter Association? Yes. How can we help? I'm at school, and there are monsters outside. The operator switches to panic mode. Monsters? Where are you calling from? Was there a dungeon break? The girl's covered in blood, voice trembling. I'm in the bathroom. I was with my friend, but now... She breaks down crying. The operator tries to keep her calm. How many are there? Are they near? I don't know. They're screaming everywhere. Hunters are on their way. Stay calm. Do you understand? Really? Am I gonna make it out? Can you describe the monsters? They're humanoid green skin, ugly faces. The operator freezes. Wait, green skin? Are they orcs? Yes. That's it. Orcs. The line goes wild. Get out of there. Orcs can smell your... Too late. The orcs bust into the bathroom. The girl screams, please. I don't want to die. The line cuts. The operator sits there, broken. Yeah, that just happened. Outside, the cops are on the scene, trying to keep things locked down. Some students make it out, drenched in blood, eyes wide from the trauma. Inside, one orc's grumpy. Half our prey escaped. His buddy shrugs. Plenty left. We've sealed the exits. Let's go up. Kill every last one of them. Inside the building, surviving students are hiding, huddled in fear. Suddenly, a door bursts open. The kids are screaming for their life as an orc storms in. One kid makes a run for it, but gets grabbed through the second door. Another orc growls, Chief. I sense a human with mana. The chief orders, kill them first. And there, in the back, shaking but alive, we see her. Jaina, Jin-Woo's little sister. Hiding in the shadows, whispering. Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo. The school's still in full horror movie mode. The orcs are closing in on the students, and Jaina is trying to stop her bestie from doing something dumb. No, don't do this, she pleads. But Han Song-Yi's locked in. Even though I'm just an E-rank, I'm an awakened being too. Jaina is like, girl, be for real. I said no. Meanwhile, one of the orcs scopes them out. Is that the human you sensed earlier? His buddy shakes his head. Nah, the one with powers right next to her. His bloodthirsty stare locks onto Jaina, and he revs up. The smell is coming from that girl. She must die. Then, right as all hope fades, bam! A shadow grabs the orc's axe mid-swing, and body slams him into the ground like a WWE finisher. Jaina is shook. Brother? Did brother? Next thing you know, that same orc gets yeeted through the ceiling, and 3 of Jin-Woo's orc-shaped shadows pull up like bodyguards from hell, standing tall. Meanwhile, back at Gwangali Beach, they finally enter the gate. Right on cue, Jong-soo shouts, it's an ogre. A twin-headed ogre. Be careful, everyone. The big dude charges. Jong-soo pops his shield like Clank and tanks the hit. Yoon-tae, he yells, and the man dives in like a boss. He slashes the ogre across the face. Straight ocular deactivation. And then yells, alright guys, deal as much damage as you want to now. And boom. Flashes, slashes, mana bombs, until what's left is a roasted ogre carcass. Jong-soo takes a breath. Let's regroup here for a moment. He's not feeling good about this. Things don't look good. I knew this raid wouldn't be easy, but I didn't expect us to fight a twin-headed ogre from the start. Jin-Woo casually drops a lore bomb. Twin-headed ogres are also known by a different name. Gravekeepers. Jong-soo nods, suddenly stressed. If you meet one at the dungeon entrance, an army of undeads waiting inside. One dude in the squad groans. Bro, why'd you jinx it? Now they're definitely coming. And as if summoned, boom, a full squad of undead pull up. But they're acting sus. Huh, why are they backing off? One of the hunters asks. Aren't they supposed to charge? Another goes, feels like they're being chased. Jin-Woo, he's unfazed. What a bummer. I had high expectations for this dungeon. And just as his mood starts to shift, his expression drops. He senses something. His shadows near Jaina are signaling him. He turns to Jong-soo, dead serious. Something urgent came up. I'm leaving. Jong-soo panics. Huh. You can't just bounce, man. What if we die? Jin was like, then I'll leave you someone just as reliable. He raises his hand, and boom, Beru descends like a demon lord. The hunters lose their minds. Isn't that the ant from Jeju Island? Jin-Woo nods. No need for intros. He'll take my place. He turns to Beru. Protect the humans. Beru bows. What shall I do about the others? Jin-Woo. Do as you please. Beru lets out his signature ear-shattering death roar, and the hunters just about wet themselves. One dude whispers, terrified. He wants us to raid with that thing? His buddy's like, bro, shut up. You ran your mouth earlier. Rip. Jin was not done. He summons 20 more ant shadows like it's Pokemon Go. These guys will help. 20 should be more than enough. He starts to dip, but Jong-soo and Young Yerim freak out. Wait, you're leaving them with us? Jin-Woo raises an eyebrow, aura low-key menacing. I can dismiss them, if you think that'll help. Jong-soo immediately folds. Why yes, sir. Jin-Woo tries to teleport out, but nah, shadow exchange is still on cooldown. How much time left? System, 42 minutes, 16 seconds. Damn it, why now of all times? No time to waste. Jin-Woo just starts sprinting toward the exit thinking, I've got a bad feeling about this. My shadows are flaring up. Something's wrong with Jaina. Suddenly, a horde of undead blocks his path. Without breaking stride, Jin-Woo yells, Get out of my way! And like magic, the undead literally kneel before him. Even Jin was shocked. Wait, are they submitting? Just how high is my necromancer rank? He sees the gate. He's almost there. He summons Kaisel, hops on his back like a dark prince, and soars into the sky. Down on the beach, the crowd gasps as a shadow cuts through the clouds. Look, it's Hunter Sung Jin-Woo. In full anime mode, Jin-Woo whispers, Take me to my sister, as fast as you can. The shadows blitz like a squad of silent assassins, slicing through the orcs with terrifying precision. Blood splatters the walls, but not a single student is touched. It's surgical, controlled, clean chaos. The students are frozen, jaws unhinged. Wait, are they saving us? Are those things protecting us? Jaina, eyes wide, instantly clocks what's going on. Those are my brother's shadows. Is Jin-Woo here? She tries to step forward, but one of the shadows halts her, not aggressive, just firm. Then it points at the cracked gate just up ahead, and we zoom in, shifting perspective straight into that gate. Deeper, inside the dungeon. Screams echo through the orc stronghold. The final restriction is gone. A massive orc sits in the dark, eyes gleaming with bloodlust. I am Grokter, chief of the Red Blade tribe, he growls, voice deep enough to shake stone. And nothing can stop me now. One of his underlings runs in, panicked. Boss, there are high orcs helping the humans. Grokter raises an eyebrow. How many? Just 3. Grokter looks genuinely offended. 3? You clowns couldn't handle 3. He grabs his own tusk with a savage grin. Lead the way. It's time to turn this place into a slaughterhouse. Back at the other gate, it's chaos but in a different flavor. The shadow ants are buzzing around like they're about to throw hands with gravity itself. Meanwhile, the Knights Guild is straight up tweaking. What if they go berserk on us? Jong-soo takes a deep breath, trying to stay calm while doing mental backflips. We can't chicken out now. The press is out there waiting to roast us. We back out, we're toast. No, we hold the line. We can't lose to a few overgrown ants. But then he looks up, and Beru is staring right into his soul. Jong-soo flinches hard. Okay, damn. That one got me. Let's just go. He tries to walk it off cool, but Beru doesn't budge. Dude's insect face practically screams. Did this fool just give me orders? Jong-soo backtracks immediately. I mean, shall we go? Beru doesn't answer. He just vanishes and reappears in front of him like a horror movie jump scare, tossing something at his feet. Jong-soo jumps back, rattled. His squad rushes to him. Boss, you good? What now? Are we just following them? Jong-soo wipes his sweat. I'm good, but look at this. They stare at the item on the floor. Wait, isn't that the head of a Death Knight? Didn't that thing take down one of the highest-ranked beasts in seconds? Jong-soo smirks. Yeah, and those things drop top-tier essence stones. Y'all know what those are worth, right? Still thinking of backing out. Before he even finishes, his guildmates are already jogging behind Beru. Back at the school, the battle's hitting peak chaos. Grokter's face-to-face with Jin with shadows, and even though they're putting up a fight, they're struggling. Orcs from every direction are hyping him up. Grokter looks at the shadows with mild amusement. These tattoos, he points to the ink across his skin. They're my kill count. You guys must have stacked a few yourselves. But is this really all you've got? He charges in. Let's go, high orcs. Make me work for it. His blade crashes down, and to his surprise, the shadows block it. Oh, you stopped my swing. Not bad. Then he slices through them. But not good enough. Except the shadows don't stay down. They regenerate. Instantly. Grokter's eyes narrow. Is this a spell? No matter how many times I cut him, it's useless. He suddenly starts twitching and glitching. A voice drills into his brain like a broken loop. Kill. 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 Kill the humans. Grokter grips his head. It's getting worse. I need to end this fast. He scans the room, then locks eyes on Jaina. It's you. He points. Grab the girl. His orcs charge. While those high orcs regenerate, they can't move properly. Pin them down. It's chaos. Shadows are holding the line, but the numbers are turning the tide. Jaina's friend screams, Jaina, watch out! But before she knows it, Grokter's hand wraps around her face. He lifts her like she weighs nothing. So it really was you, he snarls. I can feel it. You've got magic in you. Die. But right as he's about to crush her, something shifts. He freezes. Something's coming. From above, something monstrous descends fast, like a storm with wings. It's Jin-Woo. On Kaisel, raging in. Grokter backs up, pupils dilating. Something terrifying. He roars, retreat. Everyone retreat. Too late. Jin-Woo lands like a meteor. Bam. The room shakes. He rushes to Jaina, places a gentle hand on her head. You're safe now. Grokter just stands there, frozen, trying to play tough. I am Grokter, chief of the Red Blah. Jin-Woo cuts him off instantly. Points one finger, eyes glowing black like death incarnate. You shut up and wait right there. Jin-Woo turns back to Jaina, who's visibly shaking, clinging to him like her life depends on it. You're safe now, he tells her, his voice low and steady, trying to calm the storm in her chest. She nods, her face soaked in tears, finally letting the fear go. He turns to the other students who are also relieved to see him. Song-Yi, however, standing off to the side, stares at Jin-Woo like she's seeing something that shouldn't exist. He's scary, she whispers to herself, almost in awe. Then Jaina's face scrunches up again as she cries harder, and Jin-Woo's expression goes dark. Like really dark. Without saying a word, he summons Igris. Igris, take care of Jaina, he commands. The knight nods like a loyal guard dog. Then Jin-Woo turns to the rest of his shadows. The rest of you, get the students downstairs. Now, one of the orcs twitches, big mistake, buddy. Jin-Woo turns his head ever so slightly, his tone ice cold. I told you not to move. Grokter, thinking he's still the main character in this dungeon, tries to talk himself back into the spotlight. So those immortal high orcs, they were yours? Who even are you? He growls. How do you know our language? Jin-Woo just stares at him. Stone cold. Zero interest in replying. That silence. Louder than any battle cry. Grokter gets the hint. Fine. Everyone charge. And then chaos erupts. Jin-Woo blitzes forward like a damn glitch in reality. Orcs charge, axes swinging, but none of them can land a hit. He's teleporting, vanishing, slicing through them like a ghost with a vendetta. He even uses Commander's touch like he's squishing roaches. It's not a fight, it's an execution. Grokter just watches, mouth open, as his whole crew gets folded like cheap lawn chairs. He doesn't even get a chance to react before Jin-Woo grabs him by the face, the same way he grabbed Jaina, and just slams him through the wall, sending them both crashing into the hallway. That's when Jin-Woo sees it. Blood, bodies, carnage everywhere. His voice, dead quiet. Why? He asks. Why are you so obsessed with killing humans? Grokter, now fully trembling, tries to respond, his voice cracking. A voice inside my head. It keeps telling me to kill. And Jin-Woo's face hardens. That sounds way too familiar. The system, the voice, the manipulation. His gaze drops like a hammer. Then what about me? He asks. Does it tell you to kill me too? Grokter's eyes go wide. Please forgive me. But Jin-Woo ain't letting up. He squeezes harder, voice now pure intimidation. I said answer the question. Do you hear the voice when you look at me? Grokter's eyes are bugging out of his skull now. He can barely choke out the words. Forgive me. Jin-Woo raises his hand, dark energy swirling like a storm. So I'm not even human to you, huh? he mutters with a twisted little grin. Well, I'll forgive you. Pause. But don't get it twisted. That doesn't mean I'm gonna let you off easy. Meanwhile, back with the Knights Guild squad, Young Yirim is trying to yank what's left of a vampire out of the jaws of a hungry shadow ant. Her face is pure. What the actual hell? Do you know how much vampires are worth on the market? That's money you're munching on. But the ant's like, nom nom, not my problem. Yirim accidentally gets scratched by the ant's claw, and before she can even react, Beru pulls up like the shadow version of EMT. He heals her instantly, flexing those healing skills like a boss, and just walks away like the main character he is. Thanks, she stammers, still a little in shock. Then under her breath, how the hell is a bug better at healing than I am? Deep inside the dungeon, a door creaks open and we enter boss mode. A huge chamber bathed in green light. A figure wrapped in shadow floats out, the Arch-Lich. Skeleton supreme. With him, a whole damn squad of Death Knights. All of them looking like final bosses. The hunters freeze. Oh crap, one whispers. That's an Arch-Lich? Another dude's already shaking. And there's like over 10 Death Knights with him? Park Jong-soo's whole brain shuts down for a sec. He remembers the Gold Dragon Guild, completely annihilated by this exact same type of boss. China's national-level hunter Lu Jigang barely prevented a full disaster. And now, this thing is staring them down, ready for a sequel. To make it worse, more undead pour in from behind. There's more, someone shouts. Jong-soo is instantly barking orders. Block the doors. Hold the line. One of the hunters yells out, Sacred Shield. A glowing barrier slams into place, but it's shaking. Boss, we've got 5 minutes tops before this thing breaks. Jong-soo's sweating bullets. They're surrounded. Overrun. No escape. Then boom. Enter the king. Beru descends, screaming like a horror movie soundtrack, his aura swallowing the room. He locks eyes with the Arch-Lich. The Lich's voice booms. You bastards are the army of shadows. Why is the king's army here? Beru fires back without missing a beat. We were chosen by the king. You weren't. The Arch-Lich tries to protest. Impossible. I must speak with the king. Beru? Not interested. And then bam, he punches the dude square in the chest like he's trying to rearrange his bones. He then looks him dead in the eye. You sure have a lot to say for someone who's about to die. Beru reached out, grabbed the Arch-Lich's core, and crushed it effortlessly, erasing not only the Lich but also the surrounding ghostly knights. Their faded, spectral forms vanished on the spot. The hunters from the Knight Guild, who had just witnessed this insane display of power, could only stare, completely stunned. It took out the Arch-Lich with just one punch. One of them muttered, still in shock. Park Jong-soo, though rattled, quickly pulled himself together. His expression shifted, no longer fear, but calculation. A gleam lit up in his eyes as the implications sank in. With summons like that, he thought, Hunter Sung wouldn't even need to enter the gate himself. He could clear an entire dungeon without lifting a finger. Right then, his subordinate got a wild idea. Come on, boss, he urged, fired up. We can't waste time. Let's try to acquire Sung Jin-Woo's guild. Jong-soo gave him a look, slightly confused. Acquire? That's not the word you're looking for. Let's call it what it is, an alliance. An alliance between the Knights Guild, one of the 5 major guilds in the country, and a new guild founded by the world's most powerful hunter. Just imagining it made him grin. The influence, the prestige, it would be a game changer. But his subordinate, still grounded, raised the obvious point. Would he even need us, though? He literally just wiped out a boss-tier enemy in seconds. But Jong-soo had already thought this through. He brought up the regulations. Even Jin-Woo had to play by some rules, like the minimum hunter requirement for dungeon raids. He boosts our firepower, Jong-soo reasoned, and we give him the numbers he needs to legally raid gates. Everybody wins. He dismissed the idea that they'd just be riding Jin-Woo's coattails. This wasn't about clout chasing, it was about smart partnerships. Our connections matter too, he added, confident. Meanwhile, outside the school that had turned into a war zone, emergency sirens blared through the rain. Red and blue lights painted the soaked streets. Parents pushed against police barricades, desperate to get inside. My son is in there, one shouted, breaking past the line. Rescue workers pressed on, their faces grim. But with each minute passing, hope of finding anyone alive kept shrinking. Inside a car nearby, Chairman Go Gun he gave Jin-Woo a somber update. The 213 students who escaped early, they're safe, he reported. but only 10 others were rescued from the building. As for the rest, the ones who didn't make it out, he trailed off, eyes locked on the raindrops running down the window. Maybe we should have seen this coming. He pulled out charts and reports, clear proof of what was happening. The number of gates was rising. More people were awakening powers. Things were shifting fast. There's a change happening, he said quietly, his voice heavy with meaning. Jin-Woo, eyes narrowed, asked, "So why'd you want to talk to me today, sir?" Chairman Go got straight to it. People from Japan, the US, China, Russia, France, the UK, Germany, even countries in the Middle East. They all want to meet with you, Hunter sung. The weight of the world was in his tone. The Hunters Association could only go so far to protect Jin-Woo's privacy. Whether or not he met these international reps, that choice was his. But the chairman's real concern was deeper. "If you were to leave Korea," he said quietly, "I don't think our country would be able to adapt to what's coming." Jin-Woo didn't answer right away. His eyes stayed fixed on the city outside. He knew his power was rare, too valuable. In a world unraveling, he wasn't just a hunter anymore. He was a force of nature. Everyone wanted him, but he couldn't be everywhere at once. The chairman saw the hesitation and leaned in. "I'll give you everything you need," he said sincerely. "Just please consider staying." He laid it out. Korea was running out of S-rank hunters. Danger was rising. The balance was breaking. "So please," he added, "tell us what we can do to keep you here." Jin-Woo finally looked over, unreadable. "In that case, I want to enter high-ranking gates alone from now on. Can you make that happen?" It wasn't a small ask, and for a moment, the chairman was clearly caught off guard. But he understood. It wasn't about arrogance, it was about efficiency. Jin-Woo was on a whole different level. "It'll be difficult," the chairman admitted, "but not impossible. Leave it to me." Elsewhere, Jin-Ho was practically vibrating with excitement as he called his cousin, Yu Soo-hyun. "Hey Soo-hyun, want to join my guild?" he said, grinning ear to ear. "You wouldn't have to actually do anything. Just ditch my dad's guild ambassador gig and roll with us." Soo-hyun raised an eyebrow as she listened, clearly skeptical. "What's with this guild talk out of nowhere?" she asked. "Oh, and did you hear? Jinny's coming back to Korea." That made Jin-Ho perk up. "Of course I know. She's my older sister." But he quickly brought the convo back to the main mission. "Anyway, we need one more founding member." Soo-hyun tilted her head. "Wait, are you seriously asking me to join a guild that doesn't even exist yet?" she said, suspicious. "You sure this isn't some shady scam?" Jin-Ho laughed. "You'll be surprised when you hear who the shady guy is." She leaned in, curious. "All right, who is it?" Cut to later. Jin-Woo, standing at a distance, watched the interaction unfold. "So this is the person you were talking about?" he asked. Jin-Ho nodded with pride. "Yep, my cousin, Yu Soo-hyun, certified A-rank hunter." As soon as Soo-hyun laid eyes on Jin-Woo, she froze. Her eyes went wide. "Whoa, I can't believe I'm actually seeing Sung Jin-Woo in person." Jin-Ho chuckled. "Come on, Soo-hyun, you're the celebrity here." She grinned. "I mean, yeah, but still, this is the guy who straight up disappeared after crashing Lee Min-sung's press conference." Jin-Woo got to the point. "I'm guessing Jin-Ho filled you in?" She nodded. "Yeah, he said you guys needed a third founding member." Jin-Woo didn't sugarcoat anything. "Joining our guild will make waves. Are you okay with that?" Soo-hyun didn't even flinch. "Anything's better than getting involved with Eugene Sung." Jin-Woo paused. "Eugene who?" Jin-Ho stepped in. "He's my older brother, sir." Jin-Woo raised an eyebrow, instantly recalling the notorious name. Guess he's already earned his reputation, he thought. As they kept talking, Soo-hyun hesitated, then nervously asked, would you mind taking a selfie with me? I want to post it on social media." Meanwhile, news of Jin-Woo's unusual request hit the Hunters Association like a tidal wave. "You're out of your mind," one official roared, slamming his hand on the table. "You want summoned beasts to be officially recognized as Strike Squad members. This is absurd. This regulation was enforced the moment he created his guild. If this isn't favoritism, then what is?" Chairman Go Gun-hee, sitting across from the chaos, remained calm and composed. Another official shouted, "The Hunters Association is meant to serve all hunters, not just Sung Jin-Woo. Care to explain yourself, Mr. Go?" Go nodded. "You're absolutely right," he said with a small smile. "This is preferential treatment." Silence fell. He wasn't denying it. Then he posed a question to the room. "You have two options," he said. "A strike squad of 20 A-rank hunters, or just Sung Jin-Woo. You can only send one group into a dungeon break zone. Who do you choose? The room went dead quiet. No one had an answer. Chairman Go continued, voice steady. Don't forget that Huang Dongsu defected to the US, and S-rank gates are showing up more and more. He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. Guilds from all over the world are trying to recruit Mr. Sung. If we can't even work with him, why would he stay here? He looked each of them in the eye. So before you shout about fairness, ask yourself, who's going to save your life when another S-rank gate opens in Korea? Meanwhile, back to Soo-hyun. She posted the selfie with a cheerful caption. First day at a Jin guild. And somewhere else. Hae-In saw the post. She is definitely losing it. I've never seen anything like this, sir, Jin-Ho whispered, eyes wide as he stared up at the towering gate pulsing above them. This gate is massive. Jin-Woo thinks. He would have lost it if he saw the one in Gwangali. The air buzzed with tension as Jin-Woo, flanked by Jin-Ho and Soo-hyun, made their way toward the gate. A swarm of reporters pushed forward, cameras flashing like a storm of strobe lights. It was the Ajin Guild's first official raid, and the press wanted everything. Hunter Sung, over here, please. How do you feel heading into Ajin Guild's first raid? Why did you name the guild Ajin? What's your relationship with Yu Soo-hyun? Are you two? Jin-Woo's face didn't change, but his eyes locked on Chief Woo Jin-chul, who was quietly watching the chaos unfold nearby. His tone stayed low and firm. Chief Woo, I thought the association was keeping my personal info private. What happened? Chief Woo sighed, the exhaustion already weighing on his shoulders. We can protect your personal data, but we can't stop the public from finding out where the gates show up. With how fast news spreads online, you'll have to watch what goes up on social media. Jin-Woo's expression shifted slightly. Right, that Instagram post, he muttered, sounding mildly annoyed. Yeah, I'll be more careful. As the team approached the gate, Jin-Ho piped up again. Sir, shouldn't we call in a hauling team, or maybe some miners? I don't think I can manage everything on my own. No need, Jin-Woo replied calmly. I'll have my shadows handle it. With a simple wave, he summoned his shadow army. The moment they emerged, gasps echoed through the crowd. Reporters and hunters alike were frozen, stunned by the sheer number and intimidating presence of the summoned beasts. Whoa, Chief Woo muttered, eyes scanning the shadow soldiers. All of them, B rank or higher. This isn't just qualified, this is overkill. And here people were debating if it was preferential treatment. Jin-Woo is about to step into the gate. He gets surprised when Chief Woo starts getting battle-ready in shiny armor. I've been asked by the chairman to accompany you, he said. He wants to assess whether this kind of solo raid is actually safe. Would you mind if I tagged along today? Just as an observer. Jin-Woo gave a small nod. Fine by me. Inside the dungeon, the shadows wasted no time. They launched into the Naga monsters with ruthless precision. Chief Woo could only watch in disbelief. These were monsters that would give experienced A-rank hunters serious trouble, yet Jin-Woo's shadows were tearing through them like they were nothing. Is this really just an A-rank dungeon? He muttered, unable to look away. Then his gaze landed on Igris, moving like a storm through the battlefield. That one, it's on a whole other level. If I had to fight it one-on-one, would I even stand a chance? Nearby, Jin-Woo was already micromanaging the post-battle cleanup. He snapped at one of his shadows, who had gotten a little too snacky. Hey, didn't I tell you not to eat those? You know how valuable these corpses are. Then he turned to the rest. And you guys, keep mining those mana crystals. Chief Woo, still watching, felt a chill. The guy wasn't just powerful, he was efficient. Killing monsters, collecting corpses, extracting crystals, all while commanding dozens of elite-level summons with zero hesitation. This isn't a one-man squad, he realized. This is an entire guild, and he's doing it all himself. It finally made sense why the chairman wanted him here today. Seeing it in person, it changed everything. Then, the dungeon boss appeared. A towering, menacing figure loomed at the end of the chamber. Jin-Woo immediately gave his command. Those of you still working, keep at it. Everyone else, return. Chief Woo looked at him, confused. You're not using your summons for the boss fight? They could take it down easily. Jin-Woo's voice turned serious. Relying on my shadows too much dulls my own edge. And with that, he drew his daggers, ready to move. Before Chief Woo could even blink, Jin-Woo launched forward and took down the boss in a single flawless strike. The sheer speed and precision of it left Woo frozen, jaw hanging. Then came the flurry of system messages. Skills leveling up, cooldown reductions. Jin-Woo skimmed through them. All of my job skills just leveled up, and the shadow exchange cooldowns down by another hour, he noted. No complaints there. Meanwhile, Chief Wu was still trying to recover from what he just saw. Naga scales are tough enough to be used as shields or armor, he muttered. And he sliced right through them with just 2 daggers. Jin-Woo then turned to the fallen Naga boss. It had been one of the lightning-imbued types, strong, dangerous. He knelt and extended his hand, initiating the shadow extraction. When the shadow emerged, Jin-Woo blinked. It was significantly smaller than the original. It's the same rank as Tusk, and already level 13, he thought. It's probably just as strong as it was when it was alive, but why is it so tiny? Still, the mana pouring off the shadow was no joke. It pulsed with raw energy. After a short pause, Jin-Woo gave it a name. Jima. Back in the real world, Chief Wu made his report to Chairman Go Gun-hee. And that's what happened, sir, he concluded. His voice carried awe, like he still couldn't quite believe what he'd seen. What I witnessed, that wasn't a raid. It was a massacre. Chairman Go leaned back, taking it in. A faint smile touched his lips. So I wasn't wrong after all, he said softly, gazing out at the city. The hunters of Korea, no, the entire world, they're about to see the tides shift. As if echoing his words, the ground began to tremble. Far away, in Shinjuku, Tokyo, the sky ripped open. A gate, colossal beyond anything seen before, materialized above the city. It towered over even the tallest skyscrapers. The city froze. Cars stopped. People stared up in terror and awe at the dark rift overhead.
In Japan, full-on panic mode has hit. This is a catastrophe, someone mutters. And honestly, they're not wrong. The big dogs of Japan's top 4 guilds, Short Sword, Black Hole, Undefeated King, and Snowy Mountains, have all been summoned. The vibes are tense. You already know it's serious when Japan calls in every single guild master. Then the doors swing open and all eyes lock on Sugimoto Reiji, the freshly appointed guild master of Short Sword, rolling up with his crew of S-rank hunters like a squad of final bosses. The whispers start flying. Wait, isn't that Sugimoto from Short Sword? Dude, he's not vice chair anymore. He's the new guild master, and behind him, the main force S-rankers. Yeah, it's giving we came to win, but the murmurs shift real quick. Didn't they lose like 7 S-ranks in the Jeju Island raid? Even go to Ruji. President Matsumoto's barely holding on. There's this low-key satisfaction in their voices, like, finally, the top dogs are catching some L's. They had all the S-ranks locked down for years, so it's kinda nice to see him struggle for once. Then someone gets bold. Yo, Short Sword is done for. This is our shot to rise up. But that smug energy fades fast when the pissed-off S-ranks throw daggers with their eyes. One glare was all it took to shut those mouths real quick. The opportunists dipped without another word. Minoru's clenched jaw says it all. Acting brave now that Goto's gone. He thinks, seething. Bunch of fake tough guys. Kane chimes in. They've only got 4 S-ranks between them. Same as us. Reiji scoffs. They think slapping 2 weak guilds together is gonna turn them into Japan's #1? That's hilarious. They're still weak. Scene switch. We're now in a high-level government room and it's not looking good. The Prime Minister's visibly stressed, voice strained. Why haven't we heard from the Hunters Association yet? An S-rank gate opened in the middle of Tokyo. Do they have no plan? He slams the table. What happens if there's a dungeon break? Tell us the truth. Chairman Matsumoto stays calm and calculated. S-rank hunters can't solo an S-rank dungeon. Not unless we call in national-level hunters. Another guild master steps in, trying to keep things from spiraling. Come on, Chong Li, don't ask questions we all know the answer to. We saw Jeju. We already know how this ends if we don't act. One dude throws out a Hail Mary. Any actual strategy? And then suggests they bring in Thomas Andre. But that gets shot down quick. He's expensive. Also, good luck booking him. Hunters that strong aren't exactly free agents. The Prime Minister's desperation is showing. How many hunters in the world would even want to help us clear an S-rank gate? Reiji, cool as ever, drops the mic. 1. The room freezes. There's one hunter who's down, if we flash enough cash. He's talking about Yuri Orlof, the barrier god. We're thinking of hiring him. Cut to Jin-Woo, vibing with himself. Damn. Level 101 already? He reflects on his upgrades. Got the Confronting temple key at 100. Now all my class skills just leveled up. Kinda curious what's next at 102. He parks his car and glances around. Hope Jin-Ho's not drowning in work. Man's hyped up, but we need to hire someone soon. Just then, he spots Hae-In, in disguise, and running away. Huh? Jin-Woo casually hops over and calls out, "Why'd you run when you saw me? If you were gonna dip, why even pull up?" Flustered, Cha stammers something about leaving her car at his place after the whole shadow exchange ride. Jin-Woo just hits her with an "ah." Then she straightens up, kinda nervous. "Can we talk for a bit?" Her mind's racing with questions she wants to ask but knows she shouldn't. "What's the deal with that pic you took with Soo-hyun? Why'd she make the cut but not me? She's only A rank. I'm S rank. Are they dating?" But she swallows it all. "Actually, Hunter Min Byung-gu asked me to give you a message. About your power." That got Jin-Woo's full attention. His expression hardens. "Let's talk somewhere private." Inside the office, Cha checks. "We're alone, right?" Jin-Woo nods. She's low-key freaking out being alone with him, but he goes straight business mode. "So, how did Min Byung-gu give you a message?" "He's been gone." Not the convo she was dreaming of. She relives the experience. "Tell Hunter Sung Jin-Woo, be careful with his power. I was pulled out of the darkness by someone. But the thing that came back, it wasn't me. It had my thoughts, my will, but it wasn't mine. I felt like I existed only to serve him. And the scariest part? I wanted to. Felt good. His power is too strong. He needs to know this. The real army of Hunter Sung is..." She trails off. Jin-Woo is left piecing it all together, and the weight of it hits hard. Later, while clearing a dungeon, he's still deep in thought. Was she right? Is my power really that dangerous? Whatever the case, I need to find the truth. More than I need to level up right now. Jin-Ho Midshu goes, "Man, this takes me back. Remember when we used to run C-ranks together?" Jin-Woo, annoyed, side-eyes him. "Swallow before you talk." Then Jin-Ho's like, "Yo, why not let the summons handle this while we eat?" But Jin-Woo shuts it down. "Nah, I gotta keep an eye on those dummies. And the further they are, the less XP I get. Not worth it." Jin-Ho switches gears, asks about Gina. "She doing okay after that school attack?" Jin-Woo nods. "She's fine. Doc said she should rest a bit. I left my best bodyguard with her, so I'm not worried." Then, just to be sure, Jin-Woo activates shared senses. He sees Gina knocked out on the couch, peacefully asleep, while Beru's next to her, fully locked into a drama about kings and their servants. Jin-Woo's like, of course that's the type of stuff he's into. He checks in on everyone else. "Mom? Good. The S-rank dudes? Still beefing as usual." Then his senses jump to Hae-In, who's just straight up taking a bath. Jin-Woo panics and cuts the link, red-faced like a busted simp. Jin-Ho then drops some world news. "Yo, did you hear about the S-rank gate in Japan?" Jin-Woo confirms it. "Yeah, they contacted me. Still deciding. But he's got something more urgent in mind. The Confronting temple key. Only 27 hours left on that countdown. A system invitation. What answers are waiting in there? Who are you? Can I finally get some answers now?" He starts walking. "Just one more day. I'll know the truth soon." Cut to Japan. Yuri Orlof steps up in front of a panel of stiff-looking officials. He ain't shy. "I'm Yuri Orlof," he booms. "The world's best support-type hunter." He praises the Blade Guild for evacuating civilians, but then immediately roasts them. "You only got 6 S ranks for this? Really?" The Japanese reps look offended but explain. "We need to spread out our forces. 1 S rank per guild to handle the A rank gates." Yuri laughs. "That's pathetic. You really think that'll save your country?" Then he drops his price tag like it's nothing. $3.6 billion per year, or $10 million a day. Hire me at that price, and I'll keep the gate shut as long as you want. $10 million a day? The room straight up froze. That number echoed like a nuke just dropped in the middle of their crisis meeting. Yuri Orlof, standing there like the embodiment of chaotic energy, didn't even flinch. Man was drunk, cocky, and somehow still radiating raw menace. You can save your country for $3.6 billion a year, he slurred with a smug grin. And I ain't even asking for 36 trillion like Thomas. Compared to that, I'm basically a discount. Minoru leaned over to Kane, eyebrows twitching. You speak Russian, right? What the hell did that drunk bastard just say? Kane blinked, visibly uncomfortable. I'm not sure, but I'm positive it wasn't good. Orlof cackled, then doubled down. So what's it gonna be? Save your country for 10 mil a day? Or fold? 'Cause you wanna pinch pennies? He grinned like a devil. You really think now's the time to be picky? Let me tell you. Not even begging on your knees and kissing my boots would be enough. Then, without missing a beat, he threw a jab at the back line. And don't get me started on those losers behind you. He gestured to Sugimoto Reiji and the other S-rank hunters like they were bargain bin extras. Reiji narrowed his eyes. So you're really that confident, huh? Obviously, Orlof drawled, not even pretending to be humble. I mean, would you rather rely on me or gamble on those clowns? Minoru clenched his fists so tight his knuckles turned white. He's definitely insulting us, he growled to Kane, who looked equally ticked. And then it hit. Boom. Invisible weight crashed onto the room like gravity just tripled. The pressure was wild. Nobody could move. You ain't taking a single step unless I say so, Orlof said, eyes gleaming with that terrifying calm. Go ahead. Try me. Minoru and Kane froze like statues, their faces twisted in disbelief. Yo! It's like I'm chained up, Kane gasped. How the hell is he locking down S-ranks like this? Orlof finally let the pressure off and flashed a smug little smirk. There. Now that I've confirmed y'all are useless, how about you just chill while I take care of your little S-rank problem? And I'll release your friends as a bonus. Reiji took a second to catch his breath before replying. All right, you've made your point, but I dunno if the government's gonna greenlight this. Deep down, though, he knew the truth. He clenched his fists, swallowing the bitter pill. Still, he's all we got. Phone call happened, quick and heavy. The response? It's fine. We accept your terms. Back in Korea, Jin-Woo stood in front of his mom with that warm, comforting smile. Mom, she asked softly, eyes filled with concern. There's nothing I need to worry about, right? Jin-Woo grinned. Course not. I've just got an appointment. I'll be back soon. He left, and the timer on the Cardinal temple key was ticking down fast. 56 secs. 32. 15. 6 seconds. And then, boom, it hit 0. A surge of energy fired through the key. Notification popped up in his mind. The location where you can use the key has been revealed. Scene switched to Jina School. Association agents were scattered around the campus. Their faces were grim. Above the school grounds hovered a familiar, eerie shimmer. A gate. To think another gate would spawn here, one staffer said. Good thing the school's closed. If students were here, this would have been a total disaster. Jin-Woo rolled up in a hoodie, casually approaching the scene. Sir, you can't enter here, a guard yelled. Jin-Woo pulled his hood down. Wait, you're Hunter Sung Jin-Woo. How long's that gate been open? Jin-Woo asked, eyes locked on the portal. 3 days, the guard answered, voice shaky. Jin-Woo frowned. 3 days? That ain't right. The system said it would reveal the location, not spawn the gate itself. He inspected the gate. C rank, tops. Nothing major. Hunters go in yet. Yeah. They entered about 2 hours ago. That's when it hit. Jin-Woo's instincts flared like sirens. That feeling. That same deadly aura. This was a double dungeon. You need to call them back. Right now, he ordered, voice sharp. Huh? But it's just a C rank gate. They're all gonna die if you don't. I'm going in. No time for chit-chat. Before the dude could reply, Jin-Woo vanished into the gate. Inside, it was straight up spooky. Cold, damp, silent. The raid party, Dragon Guild guys, were standing in front of a massive stone door, confused out of their minds. Is this the boss room or what? Why ain't it opening? One asked. We even tried magic. Nothing's working, another muttered. Then Jin-Woo popped up behind them like a shadow. Holy, you scared the life out of me, one guy yelped. Jin-Woo, cool as ever. It's a trap. Who even are you? I'm a survivor of a double dungeon. That hit different. One dude's eyes went wide. Wait, hold up. Are you Hunter Sung Jin-Woo? Oh my god, that is him. This place is hella dangerous, Jin-Woo warned. I got this from here. You guys need to dip. He walked up to the big door, still sealed tight. Why won't it open? Then he remembered. The gate to the Cardinal Temple is currently locked. Please insert the key. He pulled out the obsidian key and slotted it in. With a deep rumble, the door began to grind open. The raid squad looked like they just saw a ghost. What the? That door didn't even budge before. Yo, how'd he open it? Then, as expected, someone had to act tough. Hunter Sung, just so you know, the Dragon Guild bought the raid permit. You can't just walk in and tell us to leave. Yeah, just 'cause you're S rank doesn't mean you get to boss us around. Jin-Woo turned, deadpan. I won't stop you. If anyone wants to enter, go ahead. One cocky dude shrugged. Fine, I'll go first. He stepped past the threshold. Big mistake. Out of the darkness, a red-eyed stone statue lunged like a missile. Weapon raised, death incoming. But right before the hit landed, snap, Jin-Woo blinked forward and yanked him out of harm's way. Everyone froze, faces pale. All the monsters in there are like that, Jin-Woo said coldly. You sure you still want to come? Silence. Please, he added, voice firm. Leave this dungeon and call the association. Tell them this is a double dungeon. He stepped inside. The moment he crossed through, the heavy stone door slammed shut behind him. The one who possesses the key has entered. The temple was just like before. Towering pillars, dead silence, that haunting vibe thick in the air. This is where it all began. I've returned. But now Jin-Woo was different, stronger, wiser, and he could feel it in his bones. These statues, they're not monsters. They're not even alive. They're puppets. Somebody's pulling the strings. He scanned the temple. Only one thing radiated mana. One presence. His eyes landed on the angel statue holding that massive stone tablet. The commandments he once failed to follow. He stepped closer. The silence was suffocating. So it was you, he muttered. Won't say anything? No answer. Then the statue's eyes lit up blood red. The stone mouth creaked open, and in a voice that rumbled like thunder, at last, you have arrived. Back in the outside world, Yuri Orlof was soaking up the spotlight at Tokyo Haneda Airport like it was his personal red carpet. It's Yuri Orlof, reporters shouted from every direction, flashes popping like fireworks. The man of the hour strutted forward, totally unbothered, surrounded by a wall of microphones. I'm going to draw a huge magic circle around the gate, he declared, hands flailing with flair. Then I'll pour my mana into it. Easy work. Whatever's inside won't be able to get out. A reporter, skeptical, leaned in. Are you saying you can block off an S-rank gate all by yourself? The public's not exactly buying it. What do you have to say to the doubters out there? Orlof grinned. No shot I can sustain a barrier with just my own power, he admitted, leaning into the mic like he was dropping truth bombs. But my magic circle? It's different. It absorbs mana from the surroundings. So if you stack Tokyo with a bunch of mana crystals, that circle's gonna siphon it all in. He paused dramatically. It's like starting a car. I give it a little gas to kick things off, and once it's running, boom, it turns into a reinforced wall, feeding on ambient mana and crystals. He pointed right at the cameras, full confidence in his voice. I'm going to save your lives. Just don't forget it. Meanwhile, Back in Korea, Chairman Go-Gun-hee was watching the whole press circus unfold on TV from his office. He let out a thoughtful sigh. I don't know if Yuri Orlof can really seal off an S-rank gate. He muttered to Chief Woo Jin-Chul. But I do know what happens if he fails. Switching gears, he turned to more local business. What Sung Jin-Woo up to these days? Chief Woo glanced at his tablet. He's currently raiding gates around Seoul, sir. Go-Gun-hee's eyes scanned the list. The Ajin Guild has requested entry permits for all of these gates? Yes, sir. But they're spread across districts controlled by the White Tiger Guild, the Hunters Guild, and the Fiend Guild. There may be some tension. The chairman leaned back in his chair with a faint smirk. A one-man guild pulling the same weight as the major ones. That's kind of fun. I agree, sir, Woo replied with a nod. Go-Gun-hee raised a brow. Did the Ajin Guild say anything else? Woo glanced at his notes. They asked to manage all nearby gates for the next week. Didn't specify why. The chairman waved a hand. Not a huge deal. As Woo turned to leave, his phone buzzed. Excuse me, sir. I'm getting a call. May I? Go ahead. I've got somewhere to be anyway. Go-Gun-hee replied, standing. Thank you, sir. Woo bowed, answering as he walked out. Woo Jin-Chul speaking. The voice on the line hesitated. Sir, we just got a report I think you need to see for yourself. Do you remember the school that got attacked by orcs recently? Woo's voice sharpened. Has something happened? Not exactly, but a gate just spawned in the schoolyard and... The caller's voice dropped to a whisper, thick with tension. A double dungeon was found inside. Woo froze. A double dungeon? And, The voice added nervously. Sung Jin-Woo has already entered it. Inside the Hae-In temple, the silence was suffocating. The ground trembled. Dust fell like snow from the ceiling as the massive angel statue began to stir. Then, with a thunderous crack, the colossal stone tablet it held shattered. The commandments etched into it disintegrated into meaningless rubble. I see you have finally made it this far, the angel boomed. Jin-Woo didn't even flinch, eyes on the falling debris. So it's fine to destroy that slab, huh? I guess those commandments were never all that important. They were... The statue rumbled back, its voice deep and ancient. But they no longer matter. Jin-Woo's eyes narrowed. You're the one who called me here, aren't you? Yes, came the chilling reply. And then it smiled. Not just any smile. A nightmare grin stretched impossibly wide, revealing rows of jagged stone teeth. Jin-Woo clenched his fists. What even are you? A magic beast. You're asking the wrong questions, the statue said, its hands slowly clapping together like rolling thunder. You should be asking who you are. The air grew heavy. Magic pressed down on everything like a suffocating fog. The stone statues along the walls creaked to life, glowing red eyes snapping open. Now, this will be your final test. If you're still standing at the end, I'll tell you everything. That will be my reward to you. Stone knights, mages, assassins, an entire army of ancient constructs, stepped forward, weapons drawn. Their killing intent flooded the temple. Jin-Woo's shadow flared. Come forth, he shouted, ready to summon his army. That won't do. The angel raised one stone finger. Suddenly, Jin-Woo felt his power clamp down hard, like the system had just pulled the brakes on everything. The use of job-specific skills is not permitted for the final test. You're the only one I want to test, the angel said. I don't care about your servants. You are no longer authorized to purchase potions or items from the shop. You may not use quest rewards or level up recovery. You may not leave this room until the final test has been completed. Jin-Woo blinked, stunned. So I'm fighting this solo, huh? No shadows, no potions, no safety net, just him. He looked at the advancing stone army. I didn't think all the cards in my hand would get snatched like this, he muttered. Fine, I've still got my inventory. With a flick, his daggers materialized in his grip, dark steel gleaming. All right then, let's do this my way. He dashed in. The statues lunged. Swords sliced through the air. Axes swung down with deadly force. But Jin-Woo was faster. He ducked under blades, spun past spears, and struck with pinpoint precision. His daggers cracked through stone like it was paper, slicing cores and dropping constructs one after another. He weaved through attacks like a ghost, parried, countered, disarmed, shattered. Every move was clean, calculated, brutal. He leapt over a shield wall, flipped behind a charging knight, and buried his blade into its back. He wasn't the same guy who had stumbled through this temple the first time. No, he was built different now. This, he thought, ducking under a swing and slicing a leg clean off. This is what I've been waiting for, what I've been training for. The angel statue watched, unmoving, its head tilted slightly, red eyes tracking Jin-Woo's every move. "You have achieved so much with the body of a human," it said, almost reverent. "Truly impressive growth." Jin-Woo gritted his teeth, cutting down another statue. "These things looked like they were teleporting before. Now I can see everything. I can handle this." But just as he caught his breath, the angel's voice echoed again. "But it's still too early for this test to end." The ground shook. Something massive stirred. Jin-Woo's eyes widened. A titan of a statue rose from the far end of the temple, shedding chunks of stone with every step. His grin was wide, predatory, and the angel, smiling now too, whispered one final line. "Now then, it's time to worship God." The sterile quiet of Chairman Go-Gun-Hee's office was broken only by the slide of paper across the polished desk. Chairman Matsumoto Shigeo of the Japanese Hunters Association sat opposite, his expression carefully neutral, though the document before him spoke volumes of desperation. "This contract stipulates that we will give up the rights to all the essence stones on Jeju Island." Go-Gun-Hee, his eyes sharp. "But why?" Matsumoto offered a strained smile. "Because in return, we'd like to hire Mr. Sung Jin-Woo." Go-Gun-Hee chuckled softly. "I'm sorry to disappoint you, but he's not an affiliate of the Hunters Association." "I'm well aware," Matsumoto conceded, his tone stiffening. "However, we can't get in touch with him without the help of the Korean Hunters Association. I'm not asking you to put in a good word for me. All I ask is for a chance to negotiate with him." The unspoken plea hung in the air, the massive S-rank gate in Tokyo, the loss of Go-To-Ruji, the crumbling power structure in Japan. They needed Jin-Woo. "I can't believe they're willing to give up such a huge amount of money just for a chance to talk to him," Go-Gun-Hee mused inwardly. Then, Go-Gun-Hee leaned forward, his voice dropping, switching flawlessly to Japanese. "I'd like to discuss this matter without the interpreters." Matsumoto blinked, startled. "You know Japanese?" "My father ran a small business in Japan when I was young," Go-Gun-Hee explained dismissively, his gaze hardening. "Chairman Matsumoto, if this is another one of your crafty tricks, I suggest you stop now." "What do you mean by that?" Matsumoto bristled. Go-Gun-Hee's smile didn't reach his eyes. "I've heard rumors that the Blade Guild has cut ties with you." Matsumoto snapped. "How did you know?" "It was pretty obvious," Go-Gun-Hee replied. "I could tell something was up when the Blade Guild rejected funding from the Japanese Hunters Association and only accepted government subsidies. They used to be at your beck and call. Because of Go-To-Ruji, you were able to rally all the S-ranks when you needed to. But not anymore. There's probably a power struggle now that the Blade Guild has fallen apart, and the association must be failing to control the situation. Isn't that right?" Go-Gun-Hee's gaze was piercing. "If this gate isn't properly blocked off, you'll have to take full responsibility, Chairman Matsumoto." He slid a small, metallic object across the desk, a crushed camera lens. Go-Gun-Hee's voice was cold steel. Though he had malicious intentions, Go-To-Ruji was a hunter that represented Japan. So his death, the downfall of the Blade Guild, the mismanaged conflicts between the Japanese guilds, and the sacrifices that were made because of your crafty ploy, everything will be falling on your shoulders. "What's this?" Matsumoto asked, unease creeping into his voice. "A camera that was connected to your receiver. It belonged to Go-To's team." He let the implications sink in. "Did you really think I wouldn't find out. Matsumoto stared, aghast, sweat beading on his forehead. Go-gun, he continued. This is hardly the time for you to be negotiating with mana crystals. If this information becomes public, the people of Japan will have to deal with the consequences of your crooked schemes. He crushed the lens in his fist, along with the entire desk. However, I'm not cold-hearted enough to do something so cruel. I wouldn't want an entire country, no, all of Asia, to be plunged into a crisis because of one man's ploy. You'll have to thank Hunter-sung Jin-Woo for this one. Back within the echoing confines of the Hae-In temple, revitalizing energy surged through Jin-Woo. The stone soldiers renewed their assault, a relentless tide of gray. They just keep coming, Jin-Woo thought, but there was no fear now, only grim determination. It's too late to dodge their attacks. In that case, he raised his hand, focusing his intent. A powerful, unseen force erupted from him, far stronger than before. Skill. The Dominator's touch has been upgraded to its final form, the Commander's authority. The charging statues were yanked violently sideways, smashing into each other and the walls as Jin-Woo exerted his will. The air crackled around him. The giant angel statue, the true threat, fired a laser beam that nicked his shoulder. That was close. I won't be able to survive a direct hit even at my current level. I'll have to get rid of that guy first. He moved, a blur of motion far exceeding his previous speed. He shot towards the statue's massive head, aiming for its face. Another laser beam erupted from its eyes, but Jin-Woo was already moving, anticipating the attack. Another laser beam. If I combine my speed with the Commander's authority skill, I'll be able to go straight for its blind spot. He activated the skill again mid-air, yanking the colossal statue's head slightly off balance with an invisible tether of force. The gravitational pull was immense. Even a fraction of his power was enough to affect the massive target. The upgrade made a huge difference. Landing lightly on the statue's shoulder, he launched himself towards its face, daggers flashing. Mutilation. A rapid flurry of strikes rained down, sparks flying as the enchanted blades met unexpectedly resilient stone. The Demon King's dagger can usually slice through anything, but it only left scratches this time. The angel statue smirked, its vast, chilling grin seemingly undisturbed. Well, if I can't slice through, I'll use brute force. Jin-Woo spotted a small crevice, a slight imperfection near the statues I left from the earlier battle. I just have to aim for that crevice. Discarding finesse, he reared back his fist, channeling his raw strength, augmented by his level and the sheer adrenaline of the fight. Take that! His fist connected with a sound like cracking mountains, stone splintering outwards from the point of impact. He didn't stop, raining down blow after furious blow, each punch shaking the colossal structure. I'll show you what it really means to be level 103. The statue groaned, deep fissures spreading across its face. It slammed downwards, impacting the temple floor with enough force to crater the stone beneath it. Slowly, the angel statue lowered. Its crimson eyes gleamed. Impressive, its voice echoed, followed by slow, deliberate clapping that reverberated through the chamber. You'd better keep your promise? Jin-Woo grunted, his fists clenched. The statue's grin widened, pieces of its face crumbling away. Haha, the test isn't over yet. Can't you see? I'm still here. A new system notification flashed urgently before Jin-Woo's eyes. An urgent quest has arrived. The angel grinned. I am your final test. Your heart will stop beating if you fail to defeat the enemy in the allotted amount of time. Time limit, 10 minutes, 0 seconds. Jin-Woo stared, his breath catching in his throat. Who the hell are you? He demanded. Suddenly, Jin-Woo started receiving a dialogue notification. I'm pretty sure I told you that was a silly question, but fine, I'll give an answer. As that happened, the entire stone shell of the angel statue began to disintegrate, not from damage, but as if shedding skin. The hooded figure tilted its head, the shadows beneath the hood shifting. Its voice, now clearer, colder, and imbued with absolute authority, filled the temple. The shadows beneath the hood parted slightly, revealing a single, glowing eye that seemed to pierce Jin-Woo's very soul. You want to know who I am? I am the architect of the system. Are you satisfied with my answer? Back outside the school, the tension around that double dungeon gate was thick enough to cut with a knife. The girl from the surveillance team called out, "Everyone from the surveillance team, please gather over here." Chief Wu Jinchul quickly took stock of the situation. 7 elite association hunters assembled on very short notice. They're skilled, but I know they won't be enough if something goes wrong with Mr. Sung, he thought, his expression hardening. This isn't about providing backup. It's about preparing for the worst possible outcome. As they edged closer to the gate, which pulsed with a disturbing energy, Wu Jinchul felt the ground tremble beneath his feet. Immediately after, an overwhelming surge of mana washed over them, pouring out from the portal. "What is this energy?" he murmured, his hand instinctively reaching for his weapon. "Is anyone else sensing this?" The air grew heavy, almost suffocating, charged with a power far beyond anything he'd ever experienced. "Where is this chilling aura originating from?" he whispered, a hand pressed to his chest. "I can feel a terrifying storm of mana brewing." Wu turned sharply to his aide. "Are there any major guilds nearby on standby?" "Yes, sir. The Hunters Guild is ready to mobilize for a raid," the aide confirmed promptly. "What about their S-rank hunters?" Wu pressed, needing confirmation. "Mr. Choi Jong-in and Ms. Cha Hae-In have both agreed to participate if needed." A faint, almost desperate hint of a smile touched Wu Jinchul's lips. "Submit an emergency cooperation request to the Hunters Guild. We need their support immediately." His eyes stayed fixed on the pulsating gate, narrowed in concern. "What in the world are you involved in?" Sung Jin-Woo, back inside the Cardinan temple, the architect, having shed the last remnants of its statue disguise, lunged forward. There was no technique, just pure, overwhelming force. The floor beneath Jin-Woo violently erupted as the architect slammed down, missing him by mere inches. Jin-Woo reacted in an instant, but the architect moved with blinding speed, its shadowy form a whirlwind of devastating attacks. Jin-Woo managed to block a heavy blow, the impact jarring his arms and forcing him back. He gritted his teeth, pushing off the floor to meet the architect's relentless assault head-on. Fists met shadow, shattering the stone floor with every collision. The architect stumbled back momentarily, its hood shifting to reveal more of the pale, cracked face hidden beneath. Its single purple eye widened slightly, and a dry, unsettling sound, like rustling leaves, escaped it. Laughter. "Impressive, truly impressive," the architect declared, its voice echoing in the vast chamber. "You're exceeding my expectations." It seemed genuinely surprised, almost pleased, by the intensity of Jin-Woo's defense. Jin-Woo ducked under a wide, sweeping strike and countered with a rapid flurry of powerful punches aimed at the architect's torso. Each blow landed with significant force, staggering the shadowy figure. "Who knew I would find such enjoyment fighting against a human being?" the architect mused aloud. "Not once in my long existence did I imagine a human could pose such a challenge. How very amusing." Jin-Woo spat out a mouthful of blood, his gaze burning with unwavering defiance. "He summoned me here right after I hit level 101. He must have assumed I'd be no match for him. But I can definitely do this." "Hey, architect," Jin-Woo called out, his voice rough but clear. "I still have a lot of questions for you. Why did you create the system? Why did you choose me as its player? And what is happening to this world right now?" The architect charged toward Jin-Woo again. "Do you wish to know?" A chilling grin spread across its features. "I see. Perhaps you fear you won't get all the answers if you manage to defeat me first." Jin-Woo suddenly pushed off, creating distance between them. "Close combat puts me at a disadvantage." He reached out, activating his upgraded ruler's authority. Skill: Commander's authority has been activated. He attempted to pull the architect towards him with the invisible force, but the hooded figure stood firm, resisting with an equal and opposite power. Are you planning to attack from a distance? The architect mocked. It's futile. Jin-Woo felt the invisible connection strain and then break. He can use the same type of skill as me. That means my ranged abilities are useless against him too. It ultimately doesn't matter whether you defeat me or not, the architect stated calmly, raising its hands. Spectral weapons, longswords, spears, axes, blades forged from shimmering energy, materialized in the air around it, wielded by unseen extensions of its power. The answers you will receive are already predetermined. It selected a massive, ornately designed axe from the floating arsenal. They have been predetermined since the very moment I designed everything. How were you able to design all of this? Jin-Woo demanded, tightening his grip on his daggers, the Demon King's short swords radiating a potent dark energy. And how were you able to grant me powers like these? The architect paused, its purple eye seeming to bore into Jin-Woo's very soul. I did not choose you, it stated flatly. The revelation hit Jin-Woo with the force of a physical blow. In fact, I was against the proposal. It continued, I am simply the architect and moderator of the system designed to cultivate players. My design is flawless. Time left, 4 minutes, 10 seconds. The timer flashed urgently in Jin-Woo's vision. His eyes narrowed in determination. I don't have much time. I have to face him head-on. The architect leaped forward, crossing the distance in an instant. I must use my full power for the remaining time. Its multiple spectral weapons descended, becoming a vortex of lethal steel. Sparks flew brilliantly as Jin-Woo's daggers met the furious onslaught. The sheer speed of the exchange was dizzying, a chaotic dance of life and death. But then, something shifted within Jin-Woo. His heartbeat seemed to resonate through the chamber. Thump, thump, what's happening? All of my senses are becoming sharper. I can do this. The world around him seemed to slow down. He could perceive everything with unnatural clarity. The precise arc of the descending longsword, the exact line of the spear's thrust, the incoming angle of the blade, the trajectory of the falling axe, the crushing weight of the hammer. I can sense all of his movements. He moved with the fluidity of water, weaving through the deadly storm of attacks, his daggers finding openings, deflecting potentially fatal blows, and scoring sharp counterhits. His body reacted instinctively, moving before his mind could fully process the information, guided by heightened perception and honed battle sense. The architect began to falter. Its attacks, which had been overwhelming just moments before, were now being parried and countered with increasing effectiveness. I am using my full strength. The architect's voice carried a note of disbelief. How is he able to block all of my attacks and retaliate so effectively? And he's becoming even faster. A well-aimed blow sent the architect staggering back, a noticeable crack appearing on its hooded face. Ugh! A flicker of something resembling pain registered in its eye. This may be an artificial body, but I cannot believe he is capable of inflicting pain upon me. Jin-Woo pressed his advantage, his attacks becoming relentless. The architect stumbled again, landing heavily on the fractured stone floor. It looked down at its hand, then back at Jin-Woo, its eye wide with dawning realization. I see, it whispered, the sound barely audible. Could this be the reason you were chosen? It is only a small fraction, but it is undeniably mixed within you. Suddenly, its composed demeanor shattered completely, replaced by an incandescent rage. You are merely a human, it shrieked, its voice cracking with uncontrolled fury. How dare you possess such a thing? Time left, 3 minutes, 45 seconds, as the architect struggled to rise. The remaining stone statues lining the chamber walls stirred once more, their red eyes glowing ominously. They lumbered forward, weapons raised, forming a final, desperate line of defense. The massive shield-bearing statue from Jin-Woo's first harrowing visit began to stomp towards him. Time left, 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Jin-Woo didn't even spare them a glance. He raised his hand, unleashing the commander's authority once more. A powerful wave of pure force slammed into the advancing statues, blasting them backward, shattering several against the far walls. Time left, 3 minutes, 15 seconds. He dashed forward, ignoring the scattered, immobile constructs. The shield-bearer raised its massive bulwark, attempting the same defensive posture as before. Time left, 3 minutes, 2 seconds. Jin-Woo didn't slow his charge, his fist cocked back. It's the same one. From back then, he leaped into the air, putting his full weight and momentum behind the blow. Time left, 2 minutes, 40 seconds. The stone shield didn't just block the attack. It exploded inward as Jin-Woo smashed straight through the statue's chest, reducing it instantly to rubble. He landed smoothly amidst the debris, turning to face the architect, who had managed to regain its feet, the remaining spectral weapons swirling defensively around it. Time left, 2 minutes, 21 seconds. Jin-Woo charged again, his daggers becoming a blur, shattering the lingering energy weapons with contemptuous ease. A final, decisive strike connected solidly. Time left, 2 minutes, 14 seconds. The architect crumpled to the ground, its form flickering erratically, the borrowed body rapidly disintegrating like ash. It looked up at Jin-Woo from the floor, the purple light in its eye fading quickly. "I have lost," it stated, its voice devoid of anger now, replaced by a strange, quiet finality. "The test is over." Time left, 2 minutes, 11 seconds. Jin-Woo stood there, catching his breath amidst the absolute chaos of shattered stone. The countdown clock finally gone from his sight. He'd won. It was brutal, hard-fought, but the victory was his. Still, even with the architect down, the big questions lingered, swirling like dust motes in the aftermath. As if sensing his thoughts, the architect, barely holding its form together, managed a weak gesture with a crumbling hand. "The answer is within you. Within me." Jin-Woo frowned, the confusion clear on his face. What did that even mean? Right on cue, a familiar chime echoed through the chamber, mirroring the architect's cryptic last words. A system prompt popped up. "The data stored in your memory will be retrieved. Accept. Yes/no." The choice was right there. The answers he desperately needed about the system's origin, why he was chosen, the truth about the darkness swallowing the world. Apparently, they were already inside him, tucked away by the very being he just took down. "The data stored in my memory," he murmured, a mix of apprehension and burning curiosity churning inside him. He met the architect's fading purple gaze. "Yes," Jin-Woo said, his voice firm, unwavering. "I accept. The data has been successfully retrieved." Instantly, a flash of light so blinding it felt absolute consumed the Hae-In temple. It washed over Jin-Woo, dissolving everything: the stone walls, the broken statues, the defeated architect, into pure white nothingness. His consciousness felt like it detached, set adrift in a swirling ocean of darkness that slowly began to sharpen, resolving into a vision on an impossible cosmic scale. He found himself floating, an unseen, unheard observer, high above a desolate, alien landscape. Everything was bathed in this eerie, purple twilight. Stretching out below was a battlefield unlike anything imaginable, teeming with creatures he recognized from countless dungeon raids, endless hordes of high orcs, goblins, giants, nagas, and every kind of monstrous beast you could think of, their collective presence radiating a suffocating wave of raw, primal power. "Whoa," Jin-Woo breathed, his voice echoing strangely in the void. "Look at all those magic beasts." Their glowing red eyes were all fixed upwards, staring intently at something beyond his line of sight. Jin-Woo turned his own gaze upward. What are they looking at? The sheer scale of it was overwhelming, the endless gates spitting out monsters, the sheer untamed power gathered in one place. This definitely isn't Earth, Jin-Woo realized, taking in the swirling purple sky and the sea of creatures stretching to the horizon. If an army like this ever broke out of the gates all at once, humanity wouldn't stand a snowball's chance. But they weren't looking at Earth or humans. Their attention was locked onto something else entirely. Then, with a sound like reality itself cracking apart, the fabric of that purple sky shattered. From the crystalline fissures poured an opposing force, legions upon legions of soldiers clad in gleaming silver armor, their backs adorned with majestic, powerful white wings. They descended like a host of avenging angels, their spears and swords radiating a brilliant, holy light. War erupted in an instant. The silver soldiers crashed into the monstrous horde below. The sounds were horrific, tearing flesh, shattering bone. The shriek of steel on steel filled the void. The alien ground quickly became stained crimson as the silver soldiers, incredibly powerful and disciplined, carved through the ranks of the magic beasts. Their initial assault was devastatingly effective, like a divine wave of annihilation rolling across the battlefield. They seemed unstoppable. But just as the Silver Legion pressed their advantage, cutting deeper into the monster ranks, a figure emerged from the heart of the carnage. This newcomer was cloaked in shadows so deep they seemed to drink the ambient purple light, radiating an aura of death and absolute power that completely dwarfed even the luminous winged warriors descending from above. The ground itself seemed to tremble with each step this figure took. It stopped amidst the fallen beasts, raised a single, gauntlet hand, and uttered one word, a word that resonated deep within Jin-Woo's very soul. Arise! A chilling, vibrant purple energy swept across the entire battlefield like a shockwave. The corpses of the slain magic beasts began to stir. Shadows coalesced around them, knitting together torn flesh, replacing severed limbs with constructs made of pure darkness. Their eyes snapped open, no longer red, but now glowing with the same malevolent purple light as their new master. That's the Monarch's domain and shadow extraction. Jin-Woo watched, stunned into recognition. The fallen beasts rose, not as they were before, but transformed stronger, faster. Their lifeblood now dark and thick, imbued with an unfathomable, necromantic strength. An army literally born from death itself. Then does that mean he's the Monarch of Shadows? The figure now appeared mounted on a steed made of swirling darkness, clad head to toe in imposing black armor, the absolute embodiment of the shadow power Jin-Woo himself now wielded. Immortality, an army that could never truly be diminished. The newly risen shadow soldiers immediately turned on their former killers. Jin-Woo watched, completely aghast. He can summon so many shadow soldiers. My own army is nothing compared to this. The fallen beasts, now empowered by Death's embrace, surged forward like a black tide, crashing against the glittering ranks of the silver soldiers. The momentum of the battle flipped instantly. The silver soldiers, who had seemed invincible just moments before, now faced an enemy that simply refused to stay dead, led by a monarch whose power seemed to bend the rules of reality itself. The Shadow Monarch personally joined the fray, riding his nightmare steed like a blur of lethal grace, his shadow blades reaping a terrifying toll. He moved with a familiar, terrifying power, crushing enemies with invisible force. The commander's authority. Ruler's authority. Wherever the monarch rode, a trail of utter destruction followed. Victory for the forces of shadow seemed not just possible, but inevitable. That is, until they showed up. Back outside the double dungeon gate, the air was still heavy, thick with that almost palpable mana pressure leaking out. Choi Jong-in, the ultimate soldier himself, and Cha Hae-In stood shoulder to shoulder with Woo Jin-Chul, flanked by the elite Hunters Guild raid team they'd brought. Are you absolutely sure about this? Choi asked Woo, his gaze locked on the pulsating blue portal, skepticism etched on his face. I'm sensing a tremendous amount of mana leaking from there. You said Sung Jin-Woo definitely went inside. Yes, I'm sure of it, Woo confirmed, his expression tight with worry. Hae-In frowned, clearly troubled. This mana, it doesn't feel like Sung Jin-Woo's. Then whose power is this? She felt a sense of obligation towards Jin-Woo after he'd helped her. A double dungeon. Huh? I suppose I finally get to see if those rumors were true. Woo Jin-Chul recalled his earlier conversation. Sung Jin-Woo told me himself he wasn't the one who cleared the original double dungeon. So then, why would he come back here? This can't possibly be just a coincidence. With a low, grating groan. The massive stone doors leading deeper into the dungeon swung open before them. Choi Jong-in gave a sharp gesture, and the assembled team moved forward, cautiously entering the vast, ruined chamber beyond. The place was a wreck. Shattered statues littered the floor, silent testament to the brutal test that had occurred. At the far end of the chamber stood the infamous, colossal statue of God, its hooded face utterly impassive, radiating an ancient, terrifying aura. What the hell? Jong-in stammered, a mix of awe and raw terror in his voice. What is this place? Woo murmured, taking in the chilling scene. So, the stories were true. The statue of God and all those stone sculptures. They actually exist. Suddenly, a weak, rasping voice echoed from the floor near the empty throne at the far end. Oh? What's this now? The hunters instantly snapped their attention towards the sound, finding only the discarded cloak and pile of dust that remained of the architect. I don't recall extending an invitation to humans. This is another unexpected variable. Shock rippled through the experienced raid team. Did I just hear that right? One muttered. Or did that pile of dust just talk? Another whispered incredulously. It knows human language? The architect's voice, though weak, rose slightly, filled with a chilling authority that defied its crumbling state. The dust seemed to stir faintly. Silence. How dare you disturb the king during his slumber? The hunters instinctively followed the direction implied by the voice's gesture, and then they saw him. Standing silently near the raised dais, bathed in a faint but distinct blue glow, was Sung Jin-Woo. It's Sung Jin-Woo, a hunter whispered, breaking the stunned silence. What's he doing just standing there? Before anyone could react or even process the bizarre scene, the pile of dust representing the architect stirred violently. In a flash, an unseen force lashed out, striking down one of the hunter's guild members instantly, sending him to his maker before he could even scream. You, strong human, the architect hissed, pure malice dripping from its fading voice. We'll make a fine first offering to the king. Picking up with Jin-Woo's vision, he's watching this insane standoff. Before the Shadow Monarch stands one absolute unit of a beast, radiating immense power. Both the Monarch and this new challenger take their stances amidst their respective armies. You could feel it in the air, total chaos was about to pop off. Meanwhile, back in the dungeon room, silence slammed down for just a heartbeat, broken only by the low, grinding groan of stone. Heal him, Choi Jong-in barked out, pointing sharply towards a hunter who'd caught some shrapnel during the architect's initial wild attack. Use everything you've got. Get the wounded to the back, now. Another hunter yelled. Here they come. Just like that, the stone soldiers charged. Weapons raised high. Their movements were heavy, deliberate, but totally relentless. The dust pile that was the architect seemed to smirk. A chilling voice echoed from it. Anyone who manages to stay alive by the time all of my puppets finally collapse will be granted the supreme honor of witnessing the king's birth. Buki, everyone, watch out! Choi roared as the absolutely colossal statue of God, looming like a nightmare at the far end of the chamber, began to stir. Its massive stone eyes flickered, charging up those infamous, devastating eye beams. Choi didn't hesitate, reacting instantly by conjuring a huge fireball between his hands. Use this chance. Attack the other stone statues while it's distracted, he commanded, launching the blazing projectile straight at the statue of God's face. Wham! It slammed home, momentarily blinding the giant statue and stopping its attack cold amidst a shower of sparks and billowing smoke. Chief Wu Jinchul launched himself towards the nearest statue, landing a solid punch. To his shock, it barely left a scratch. Whoa, this thing is way sturdier than I thought, he realized, a flicker of panic creeping onto his face. Heads up, these guys have high resistance to physical attacks. So be careful, Choi warned, gritting his teeth as he saw even his powerful magic struggling against them. Wait, it can withstand this much magic? Don't tell me they have resistance to spells too? Frustration started boiling over. Guildmaster Choi, none of my taunt skills are working on them, another hunter shouted desperately. My basic psychokinetic spells aren't doing jack either. They won't even budge. Choi could feel the options dwindling fast. Damn it. Are we all out of options here? His gaze shot towards Jin-Woo, who was still standing completely motionless near the throne, looking totally zoned out. Is he hypnotized or something? Choi thought frantically. Then we have no choice. We have to wake Jin-Woo up. He hurled one of his fireballs directly at Jin-Woo. Whatever's going on, this is the only way to snap him out of it right now. But before the fireball could even get close, the architect intervened, stopping it dead with some unseen force. The dust cloud surged furiously towards Choi. How dare you attempt to disturb the king in his slumber? But before the architect could reach Choi, the other hunters, including Chief Wu, jumped in, blocking its path. Wu turned, shouting urgently to Hae-In, Ms. Cha, we'll handle things here. Please, go wake Jin-Woo up. Got it. Hae-In replied instantly, dashing towards Jin-Woo without a second thought. At that very exact moment, the memory playback happening inside Jin-Woo's mind hit its absolute climax. He saw the original Shadow Monarchs army, regenerating endlessly, seemingly drawing power from what felt like a bottomless pit full of mana. He finally understood the real dynamics of that ancient war. The demon clans and all those beasts were slaughtering the shadow soldiers only because their true enemies were the silver soldiers descending from the sky. Wait, so the Monarch of Shadows wasn't actually allied with the magic beasts? Or maybe, was there some kind of internal beef? The answer arrived with horrifying, brutal clarity. He watched as the Monarch's own soldiers suddenly turned, impaling their leader with countless weapons from behind. Betrayal. The Monarch confronted one of the betrayers, staggering forward even as his shadowy form began to dissolve. We had a chance to end this endless war today, the Monarch rasped, utter disbelief coloring his fading voice. So why did you betray me? He reached out, grabbing the treacherous soldier's helm, demanding an answer, the metal groaning under his grip. I asked you a question. Why did you betray me? But there was no reply, only the cold, hard fact of betrayal. The Monarch finally fell, overwhelmed, his body crumbling into nothingness. As his life force faded completely, his eyes, filled with that dying purple light, seemed to lock directly onto Jin-Woo's across the void of time and memory. Those eyes! Where have I seen those eyes before? Suddenly, the image of Baron, the Demon King from the Demon Castle dungeon, flashed violently in his mind. Baron? The Demon King? What the heck is Baron doing here? Then, something shifted. The perspective changed entirely. Jin-Woo was no longer just watching. He was suddenly standing there, looking out through the Monarch's eyes. He was the Shadow Monarch. Huh? Since when? Why didn't I realize until now? The rhythmic thumping sound intensified. The unmistakable beat of the Black Heart, now resting securely within the chest of this ancient being called Ashbourne, and now inherited by Jin-Woo himself. Ashbourne, or maybe Jin-Woo now, turned, darkness swirling around him like a cloak, only to be met by the sight of the rulers, the winged silver soldiers, descending from above. Their wings cast long, imposing shadows as they surrounded him, their gazes heavy with judgment. And with that, the playback of the retrieved data has ended. Back in the chaotic reality of the dungeon, the architect, or what was left of its dusty form, shifted its focus to Hae-In. She was holding her own, a whirlwind of motion against the relentless stone soldiers. A dry, rasping voice echoed from the dust pile, sounding almost amused. You're quite entertaining. It's single purple I fixed on her. Quite entertaining indeed. The dust stirred faintly. Why don't you try a little harder to break free from my grand design? Hae-In didn't waste breath dignifying that with a response. With explosive speed, she launched herself forward, her blade a silver flash. Sword dance. Her movements became a deadly blur, a beautiful yet lethal ballet slicing through the air, aimed squarely at the nearest stone statue. "There you go!" The architect's voice mocked as Hae-In's sword struck the unyielding stone again and again. Sparks flew like fireworks as she rained down blows, moving with incredible agility and precision. Just like that. Ha ha ha! But even under her furious assault, the statue barely showed any damage. The sheer force of the impact drove Hae-In back, forcing her into a hard landing. A grimace of pain flashed across her face as a spray of her own blood flew from the recoil. "Arg! Ha-ha! Is that all you've got?" The architect sneered, its voice practically dripping with contempt now. "Well, I suppose there won't be any unexpected deviations after all. You humans never fail to disappoint me." Shadowy tendrils seemed to writhe around the pile of dust. "The system I constructed can predict and respond to any possible outcome. Such feeble attempts will never destroy my creation. I suppose this is the best you fragile beings can muster." Another blast of dark energy shot out from the architect, aimed towards the beleaguered hunters still fighting off the statues. Choi Jong-in watched the desperate struggle unfolding, his face grim. "We have to wake up Sung Jin-Woo," he declared, his eyes locking onto Jin-Woo's still, silent figure standing near the throne. "It's our only remaining option." The architect lashed out again, sending a bolt of pure dark energy straight at Hae-In. She reacted instantly, dodging with breathtaking speed. The energy blast slammed into the stone floor right where she'd been standing a split second before, sending chunks of debris flying through the air. She landed lightly, skidding to a controlled stop. "So," the architect sounded almost intrigued now, its tone shifting slightly, "you managed to dodge my attack, huh? Not bad." Its single purple eye narrowed, focusing intently on Hae-In. Suddenly, it seemed to recoil just a fraction. A shadow, a tiny wisp of dark energy flickered around Hae-In, almost invisible to the naked eye. "The rules established for this room do not permit such things to come forth," the architect murmured, a note of dawning realization entering its voice. "But that is, without a doubt, a shadow. To think the king planted one of his own soldiers within you." The voice sharpened abruptly. "How did you all locate this place? And what exactly is your relationship to Sung Jin-Woo?" Hae-In stood tall, meeting the architect's disembodied gaze head-on, her voice clear and defiant despite the blood staining her clothes. "We're his friends." She paused for effect, then added with unshakable conviction, "Friends who are here to rescue him." The architect seemed to ponder this for a moment. "Friends," he mused aloud. Perhaps it wasn't the king's direct intervention. Then, its tone shifted again, becoming almost magnanimous, but still laced with undeniable menace. "All right, very well. I shall grant you a chance. Today, one of the great monarchs will descend upon this world, and I am going to give you the unparalleled chance to witness this glorious, world-altering event." A chilling pause hung heavy in the air. "However, all of your little human friends," the architect's voice dropped, becoming quiet but filled with absolute, terrifying certainty, "shall perish. Right here, right now." A new voice cut cleanly through the tense atmosphere of the chamber, cold and steady as ice. "Not on my watch." The architect froze, its single eye widening just slightly. And then bam! Jin-Woo was suddenly there, coming in hot with a punch delivered straight to the crumbling remnants of the architect's statue form. "You!" Jin-Woo's voice rasped, raw power radiating from him as the stones visibly cracked and crumbled under the impact. He stepped forward, vibrant purple energy swirling around him like a living cloak, his gaze locked onto the dissipating architect. "What have you done to my body?" he demanded, his voice dangerously low, vibrating with restrained fury. The surviving hunters could only stare, mouths hanging open in disbelief. Wu Jinchul's eyes were wide with shock. Choi Jong-in actually flinched back slightly, instinctively reacting to the sheer pressure Jin-Woo now emitted. Even Hae-In looked utterly stunned by the sudden, overwhelming presence her friend now radiated. He landed softly on the floor, the stone cracking slightly under his feet, his eyes fixed unwaveringly on his enemy. He glanced down slightly, his reflection almost visible in the massive remaining eye of the crumbling statue. "It seems you're not the king," the architect sputtered, its voice strained, thick with confusion. "But why? Why are you here instead of him? How are you possibly able to maintain your consciousness with that black heart beating inside you?" Jin-Woo's eyes narrowed slightly at the words. Black heart. He could feel it now, undeniably, a powerful, rhythmic thumping within his chest, pulsing with an absolutely insane amount of mana. So this crazy surge of mana is thanks to this heart? Right on cue, a system window flashed into his vision. Title: Demon Hunter. You have met all of the requirements. You have successfully recalled your defeat of Baron, the Demon King, Monarch of White Flames. An incredible power has acknowledged the player as its rightful master. Effect: Black Heart, plus 100,000 mana. His current mana pool displayed right below it. MP: 109,433, almost instantly full from near empty. Okay. Judging from his reaction, Jin-Woo thought rapidly, analyzing the architect's genuine shock. I can figure out two things right now. 1. This black heart thing wasn't part of this guy's master plan. 2. It was definitely never meant to boost my powers according to his little script. He frowned slightly, but that memory playback, it didn't give me all the answers. I still haven't heard the full story yet. He addressed the crumbling architect directly, his voice calm, inquisitive, but holding an edge of cold steel. You said you were against choosing me as a player. He paused. But what exactly is a player? And what were you ultimately trying to do to me? The architect's remaining eye widened again, a flicker of understanding, or maybe it was pure fear, crossing its fractured, dusty face. Could it possibly be? Its form seemed to glitch, momentarily flickering to show the enraged faces of the rulers from Jin-Woo's vision. Monarch of Shadows, how could you do this to us? The architect suddenly shrieked, its voice abruptly filled with an ancient sense of betrayal and raw fury. Do you really think the other monarchs will just let you get away with this? Tendrils of dark energy lashed out erratically, striking the nearby walls. Just answer my questions, Jin-Woo stated flatly, completely unmoved by the dramatic outburst. As several of his daggers materialized in the air around him, points aimed directly at the architect's face. The architect let out a dry, rasping laugh, the sound unsettling. Ha ha ha. You truly are an unpredictable variable, aren't you? His gaze seemed to pierce right through Jin-Woo. I think I now understand why you were the one chosen. Suddenly, gasps erupted from the hunters. Ah! What the? Take the statues. All around the massive chamber, the remaining stone statues, even the ones that had been completely inert just moments before, began to crack and groan loudly. Sinister red light flared to life in their empty eye sockets. They've started to move, a hunter screamed. Ha ha! The architect cackled, its voice seeming to regain some strength, now filled with pure spite. If I happen to perish now, no one will be left who can stop my puppets. It looked directly at Jin-Woo, the challenge hanging heavy and clear in the air. Think you can still afford to kill me? Jin-Woo tilted his head slightly, considering it. And what if I killed you and managed to defeat all your puppets as well? A smug, almost arrogant confidence entered the architect's tone. I am the architect of this entire system. If you were foolish enough to kill me, Jin-Woo finished the implied threat for him, a slight, almost imperceptible smile touching his lips. I'd return to being just a powerless E-rank hunter. He shook his head slowly. I've actually thought about that possibility. His eyes narrowed, the purple glow intensifying. But an existing, functioning system doesn't just fall apart when its creator vanishes. Now does it? The architect's composure finally, completely shattered. Then I'll just have to manually, ding, 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 ding. A rapid-fire sequence of system prompts began flashing urgently in the architect's fading vision, overlaying its perception of reality. The system has denied the administrators access. The system has denied the administrators access. The system has denied the administrators access. A flood of denial messages filled its site, relentless and absolute. Why? Why is the system denying me access? Sheer panic laced its voice now. You know. Jin-Woo began, his voice soft but resonant, echoing his own determined words from long ago. I once thought to myself, the system is definitely using me, and so I'm going to use the system right back. It needs me to get strong. If I've become someone's avatar through this system, then I have no choice but to exceed every single one of their expectations. His eyes flared brightly with purple light. I'll eventually swallow this entire system whole. He looked down at the panicking, crumbling architect. But lucky for me, it seems your perfect design is actually full of flaws. Arg! The architect let out a final, agonized scream of fury and disbelief. How dare you? Jin-Woo didn't hesitate, slicing through its remaining form with his daggers, cutting it into rapidly dissolving pieces. Before it vanished completely into dust, its voice echoed one last time through the chamber, filled with a chilling, absolute certainty. Let me make a prediction. His fading gaze fixed on Jin-Woo. No, consider it a prophecy. When the pillars of fire supporting the very skies are finally erected, its voice faded into nothingness, but the ominous words hung heavy in the air. An unavoidable death will come, and it will find you. Jin-Woo stood impassive amidst the settling dust, the purple aura around him steady and calm. He considered the final words, the final threat, the prophecy of his demise. So be it. Back outside the ravaged school building, the air was thick with tension. An hour had crawled by since the Hunters Guild team disappeared into that pulsing blue gate, and the silence was getting heavy. It's already been over an hour since the Hunters Guild went in. One of the remaining personnel muttered nervously, eyes glued to the portal. What's taking them so long? Another hunter shivered, pulling their jacket tighter. Man, if our guild had tried to go in there instead, we would have been totally screwed. Just then, silhouettes started emerging from the shimmering blue entrance. Look, there they come. A wave of gasps rippled through the onlookers. The elite members of Korea's top guild stumbled out, leaning heavily on each other. Their expensive armor was cracked and battered, faces pale with exhaustion and shock. Several figures were being carried out, completely still under stark white sheets. Seeing the strongest hunters in the country looking this broken sent a chill down everyone's spine. Blood stained their gear, their expressions haunted. I can't believe it. The elite members of the Hunters Guild look so beat up. Someone gasped in disbelief. What in the absolute hell happened inside that C-rank gate? Woo Jin-Chul quickly moved towards the returning hunters. You guys are from the Courthouse Guild, right? He asked a nearby group. Can you help us transport all of the casualties? That word, casualties, hung heavy and grim in the air, confirming the terrible reality. Why yes, of course, they stammered, rushing to assist. Amidst the somber activity of tending to the wounded and recovering the fallen, Jin-Woo stood apart, gazing off into the distance, lost in thought. The real architect is probably somewhere else entirely, he reasoned, trying to piece together the fragmented memories he'd been shown. I got some answers, but definitely not the whole picture. And I doubt that fading consciousness could have stuck around long enough to tell me everything. Anyway, Woo Jin-Chul approached him then, his face etched with the grim weight of responsibility. Mr. Sung, he began, his voice low. 20 of the highest-ranking elite hunters under my command died in action today. He paused, letting the weight of that sink in. That said, we would have suffered unimaginable damage had a full dungeon break occurred here. But, are you telling me you attempted to clear this dungeon entirely by yourself? Jin-Woo sighed, the burden settling heavily on his shoulders. I asked the guild that discovered it to report the double dungeon, but I honestly didn't think anyone would come rushing in to help me. I'm the reason those hunters died today. He looked down at the grim scene of triage unfolding nearby. I only survived thanks to the Hunters Guild and the surveillance team stepping in. Chief Wu's gaze hardened just slightly as he looked at Jin-Woo. The surveillance team is always notified whenever an S-rank hunter takes official action. And the decision to request the Hunters Guild's cooperation, that was mine. Though the results are undeniably tragic, nonetheless. He paused again, studying Jin-Woo intently. How did you know that there was a double dungeon here in the first place? The dungeon called out to me, Jin-Woo replied simply, his voice quiet. Called out to you? Wu repeated, unable to hide the skepticism in his eyes. Yes, Jin-Woo elaborated slightly. I received a message telling me to come here. May I have a look at that message? Wu asked, pressing, needing something tangible. It's in my head, Jin-Woo replied flatly. Only I can see it. Chief Wu studied him for a long moment, finding the young S-rank hunter increasingly inscrutable. I doubt he's joking, not considering how many people just died. But I just can't get a read on this guy. Not with normal common sense, at least. Just then, Hae-In approached, her own minor injuries already tended to. Are you all right, Mr. Sung? She asked, genuine concern warming her voice. Yeah, of course I'm. Jin-Woo started to reply, but the words suddenly caught in his throat. A profound wave of exhaustion crashed over him, the culmination of the intense battle, the overwhelming flood of memories, and the sheer strain of containing the immense power of the black heart thrumming within him. He wobbled on his feet. No, maybe I'm actually a bit. He staggered, his vision blurring. Tired. With a soft thump, before anyone could catch him, he collapsed onto the pavement, completely unconscious before he even hit the ground. Mr. Sung, Hae-In cried out, rushing forward. Sung Jin-Woo. Miles away, under the eerie orange glow of Tokyo's setting sun, final preparations were underway in the completely evacuated Shinjuku district. Lines of massive dump trucks relentlessly poured mountains of gleaming mana crystals onto the deserted streets, forming glittering piles surrounding the colossal, swirling S-rank gate that dominated the skyline. Yuri Orlof surveyed the scene, arms crossed confidently, a look of deep satisfaction etched on his face. 200,000 tons of mana crystals, he declared loudly to his nervous assistant hovering nearby. This should be more than enough power to charge the magic circle completely. He gestured grandly towards the gate. Once I construct the barrier around the gate, it will begin drawing mana directly from these crystals. And at that point, the magic circle will become entirely self-sufficient. He paused, frowning slightly as he scanned the empty, silent cityscape. But, how strange. Pardon? Is there some kind of problem, sir? The assistant asked quickly, anxiety creeping into his voice. No, the barrier itself is perfect, Yuri scoffed dismissively, waving a hand. However, I sense a presence nearby. His eyes narrowed, actively searching the deep shadows between the empty buildings. Sorry? The assistant murmured, looking around confused. Who are you? Yuri suddenly bellowed into the stillness, his voice echoing strangely. Show yourself immediately. Only silence answered him. Would someone really have the guts to be out here on the street, especially when the dungeon break is scheduled for tomorrow? The assistant reasoned nervously, trying to make sense of it. Yuri grunted. I never said it was a person. He turned away, shaking his head dismissively. What? The assistant asked, utterly bewildered now. High above, perched unseen on the roof of a nearby skyscraper, a figure shrouded in swirling frost watched Yuri Orlof intently. A man with sharp senses, I see. The figure mused, their voice like cracking ice. Well, I suppose there's nothing particularly strange about that, considering the source of his power. But, regardless, a faint, cold smile touched the figure's lips as they looked towards the ominous gate. It finally begins. Huh. Their gaze lingered on the swirling vortex. Everything is proceeding according to plan. Tragedy is most certainly afoot. Down below, Soldiers maintained a grim perimeter behind stark yellow keep-out tape, their armed presence a stark reminder of the terrifying stakes. Other hunters waited nearby, their hushed conversations filled with a heavy dose of cynicism. Modern firearms are basically useless against high-level beasts. So I just don't see the point in mobilizing the entire army like this. One hunter, Kane, commented quietly. Another, Reiji, replied darkly. If Yuri Orlof's little magic trick fails, someone needs to buy the frontline hunters enough time to prepare for the onslaught. So they're just human shields. Kane sighed, the resignation heavy in her voice. Truth is, as long as we're standing here on the front lines, we hunters aren't much different. It just goes to show how utterly helpless the human race really is when faced with pure destruction. Yuri, completely oblivious to the watchers above or the grim conversations below, admired the glittering field of mana crystals spreading down the street like a river of diamonds. Perfect. This is absolutely great, he muttered to himself, already reaching for his flask. If all goes according to plan, I'll have this gate taken care of all by myself. It'd be fantastic if I could be known as the man who brought down an S-rank gate single-handedly. But, he paused, taking a swig. There's another hunter out there who probably fits that title better, so I shouldn't get too ambitious. His assistant tried weakly to intervene. Mr. Orlof, alcohol is strictly. Bah! I'm just trying to calm my nerves before the big show. Yuri boomed, draining the flask with a flourish. Besides, I'm about to put on the best performance you've ever witnessed, so this definitely calls for a toast. How many S ranks are on standby, just in case? He mumbled, wiping his mouth. There are 15 S-rank hunters here in total, sir, the assistant reported promptly. Only 15? Quite a small audience for such a momentous occasion. Yuri grumbled. What are the Americans doing? Did they not send Japan any of their S-rank hunters? Well, sir, an S-rank gate appeared on their soil as well. In the state of Maryland, to be exact. The assistant continued, his expression growing even more grim. But that's not all. Several other high-rank gates have appeared simultaneously in the United Kingdom, India, and in many other countries besides Japan. Ah, I see. So, countries all over the world are suffering from a critical shortage of high-level hunters right now. Yuri grinned, seeming almost pleased by the global crisis. Suddenly, the assistant's eyes widened in absolute terror, pointing a shaking finger towards the sky above the gate. Sir, the gate. Yuri looked up. The massive, swirling vortex of the S-rank gate was pulsing violently, angry red energy crackling across its surface like shattering glass. The gate! It has opened! Someone screamed. Jin-Woo's eyes snapped open. He sat bolt upright in bed, gasping for air, his heart hammering against his ribs like a drum. Blurry white ceiling tiles slowly swam into focus above him. The sterile, sharp scent of disinfectant filled his nostrils. A hospital? He pushed himself up, feeling groggy and confused. The door to his room rattled open, and Jin-Ho burst in, looking frantic and sporting a few fresh bruises himself. Sir! Jin-Ho! Jin-Woo blinked, trying to clear the fog from his head. What happened? What happened to me? You finally woke up! Jin-Ho exclaimed, relief flooding his face, only to be quickly followed by tearful panic. Sir, I really thought you were dead this time. I didn't think you'd be unconscious for 3 whole days. 3 days. Jin-Woo stared at him, shocked. I've been asleep for 3 days? Yes. I've been worried sick. Jin-Ho sniffled. Jin-Woo's mind started racing. 3 whole days? Did I really build up that much fatigue? Well, I guess I haven't exactly taken a break in a while, but more importantly, the fragmented memories flashed vividly in his mind again. The colossal cosmic war, the monarchs, the rulers. I keep thinking about that war the architect guy showed me. I can't get it out of my head. He focused, a sudden, sharp urgency gripping him. Hold on. If I've really been asleep for 3 days, then that means... Jin-Ho, he said, his voice serious. Give me an update. An update? On what, sir? Jin-Woo asked, confused. The S-rank gate in Japan. What happened to it? Jin-Woo's expression immediately turned grim. Ah, well, sir. His voice dropped as he began to recount the disastrous events. Cut back to Shinjuku, Japan. Moments after the gate shattered open, the ruptured portal pulsed violently. With thunderous footsteps that literally cracked the pavement with each impact, colossal figures began to emerge. Giants! A nearby hunter screamed, pure terror in their voice at the sight of the towering, brutish figures radiating immense, overwhelming power. They're giants, but they usually only appear as the highest-level bosses of A-rank gates. Maybe, despite the terrifying sight that sent others scrambling, Yuri Orlof stood defiantly amidst his glittering field of mana crystals. Heh! This will be easy-peasy, he declared, a manic, almost unhinged grin spreading across his face. Come at me, you overgrown brutes. He threw his arms wide, beginning to chant loudly, pouring his considerable mana directly into the ground beneath him. Intricate patterns of bright light spread rapidly outwards from his feet, coalescing in seconds into a vast, shimmering dome of crackling blue energy that completely sealed off the broken gate and the emerging giants inside. The barrier hummed powerfully, visibly drawing energy from the surrounding crystals. Blue lightning seemed to arc across its surface. Bah ha 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 ha! Yuri roared with triumphant laughter, throwing his head back. Beasts that are commonly found in measly A-rank gates? Who would have thought this would be what came out? You pathetic pipsqueaks actually think you can break through my barrier? One of the giants, completely undeterred by the light show, lumbered forward and drew back its massive, rock-like fist. With terrifying force, it struck the shimmering blue wall. Crack shatter. Instantly, the barrier imploded, shattering into countless shards of fading blue light that vanished into nothingness. Yuri's booming laughter choked abruptly in his throat. Ha! His eyes bulged wide in utter disbelief. Ha!